Immortal Cultivation family, I can see the clues. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 176 Seed. Another month passed, and a rapid bell sounded, and the attack of the demon cultivators came again. Lin Yi was a little anxious at the door. This was the third time that the demon cultivators attacked, and Lin Yi was absent twice. This time, he would be forced to call by the three major sects. Countless sound transmission talismans appeared outside the door, and were intercepted by Lin Yi one by one. And Lin Yi finally opened his eyes. He smiled lightly and put away the futon. In these 15 days, he could be said to have gained nothing, because he did not find any sword style of the grass sword formula. It can also be said that the harvest was huge, because a dog-tail grass seed was planted in his spiritual platform. Shiming. The door opened and Lin Yi walked out. When Lin Yi saw Lin Yi for the first time, he felt that there was no sword energy at all, and even the sword light he left in the jade slip did not remain at all. It can be said that the sword comes from the heart and goes from the heart. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel sad, but when he thought of Lin Yi, a wood attribute cultivator, he suddenly felt normal again. Lin Yi is good at control and spiritual plants. If nothing unexpected happens, his future achievements will definitely be more than just building a foundation. This is already amazing. Moreover, if he has no talent for swordsmanship, it may be good news that he does not need to go to the Zuanpan secret realm. This time, the attacks of the demon cultivators are getting stronger and stronger. Every time they die, they can take a large number of spirits and corpses. Lin Yi reminded with some concern, and at the same time he was changing the subject. Thank you for your reminder, Uncle 7. Lin Yi thanked him, and then went to the Zuanking refining pavilion in Xi'an City to get the array sword. Lin Yi went to the city gate first. Outside the Zuanking refining pavilion, there were also two cultivators in the entire refining pavilion who hurried out, obviously also to get a magic weapon. Lin Yi walked into the attic. Su Qing and Lin Zhuan were still there at this moment. When they saw Lin Yi, they were also very happy. Friend Lin, Su, will make a prototype of the array sword this time. I promise that you will be satisfied. Although it does not depict various arrays, its strength and toughness can definitely be ranked among the top-grade magic weapons. Su Qing was the first to speak. Lin Zhuan followed closely behind. Fellow Taoist Lin, the array swords I have refined are not surprisingly many, just a little bit more than this fellow Taoist Su Qing. Lin Yi heard what the two said, but he didn't care, but took the array swords from the two. A total of 82 array swords were refined, 41 for each person. As for the 40 swords that Lin Yi said before, and the 41 swords for each person, the two did not forget, but they both felt that they were stronger and should refine more. Lin Yi looked at the 82 array swords with a bit of laughter and tears. Fortunately, there was one more sword, which could be used as a spare. If there was one less sword, it would be a big problem and it would not be possible to form a complete sword formation of the Purplewood Zuanshan sword formation. Lin Yi also touched the 82 swords in his hands one by one. What surprised him was that these array swords were not only of extremely high attainments, but also extremely perfect, and almost exactly the same. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, Lin Yi would definitely think that they were refined by one person. Thank you, masters. Here are the remaining spirit stones and materials. The cost of the spirit stones needed to refine these 81 array swords was not very high. After all, 20,000 spirit stones were only for refining the prototype of the array swords, but the two still charged 30% for the refining materials. The three were all happy, and Lin Yi also headed towards the city wall. He did not forget that 20 foundation building initial stage demon cultivators could be exchanged for cave beads. Moreover, he wasted a month in seclusion. Fortunately, the cave beads, in addition to being heavy, could not be refined, otherwise they might really be exchanged for. When Lin Yi came to the city wall, the cultivators had already fought together. What made him look solemn was that the cultivators of the corpse training sect were getting stronger and stronger, especially the foundation building cultivators. Almost every cultivator of the corpse training sect had 7 or 8 blood corpses of the same level. Often at the beginning, 2 foundation-building initial stage cultivators could entangle them, but now 3 or 4 foundation-building initial stage cultivators are needed. Although Cheyenne City had support, the foundation-building cultivators were not key training cultivators, and the situation was getting worse. Lin Shiming even learned from Zi that the strength of the Lingfu sect was obviously weaker than that of the Lingxiao sect. At this moment, not only Yao Zhao was captured, but even Jing Zhao was captured by a large part. If Jing Zhao fell, half of the territory of the entire Lingfu sect would fall into the hands of the Xianmo sect and the Lianqi sect. Moreover, what made him frown was that as soon as he entered the battlefield, he saw countless mid-stage foundation-building body cultivators being divided up by the demon cultivators and the Lianqi sect cultivators who had reached the great perfection of foundation building. The other cultivators were unable to stop them at all, and with the black fog covering them, it simply became a place for the demon cultivators and the Lianqi sect to harvest. Fortunately, the purple mansion cultivator of the Lingxiao sect suddenly raised his arm, and the next moment, countless purple cracked windbirds flew out of Cheyenne province again. And these cracked windbirds were even the 3rd-level peak monsters, a full 20 of them, and as soon as they entered the battlefield, they also madly ravaged the demon cultivators. Only then did the situation stabilize a little. Lin Shiming glanced at Lin Xianzi, then at Lin Haoyun, and at the key training monks of his family. After confirming that he was not being targeted by a high-level demon cultivator, he really fought against a cultivator of the corpse training sect. Lin Shiming took out an ordinary 3rd-level medium-grade magic sword and kept striking. If Zixuan Sanren was watching here at this moment, he would find that Lin Shiming was like a blade of grass, swinging his sword in the air. A faint sword intent was also transmitted around Lin Shiming. While feeling the sword technique, the picture screen prompted by the system appeared in his mind again. The dogtail grass recreated the scene of raising a sword. And he also focused half of his mind on the grass and half of his mind on the enemy. For a while, facing 3 corpses of the same level and a corpse training sect monk, he seemed quite anxious. However, the seed in his heart became brighter and brighter. He had a feeling that when the seed dawned, it was the moment when his sword intent was born. At this moment, Lin Shiming was also practicing his sword, but in the eyes of the corpse training sect monks, Lin Shiming was clearly dancing in the wind, so he smiled contemptuously and took out one blood corpse after another. However, when he thought he could take down Lin Shiming, he always found that he was still a little short. While learning the grass sword technique, Lin Shiming also began to observe the surrounding demon cultivators and corpse training sect monks again. He did not intend to kill them one by one in a long-term process, as he would be targeted sooner or later. On the contrary, he wanted to make a sudden attack at the end of the battle and kill 20 cultivators. At that time, even if he was targeted, he would not have to worry, and after killing 20 cultivators of the same level, he could rest for more than 2 months again. After the Zuanshan sword formation was carved, he would not be afraid of the mid-stage foundation-building cultivators, and he could fight some weaker late-stage foundation-building cultivators. Brothers, I haven't spoken for a long time, but it is true that the performance of this book is not good. Although I will continue to write the first book, I still want to ask for a subscription and support once, so that there will be more new editions, so that I can recommend it. I would also like to thank everyone for their monthly tickets. Thank you very much. Chapter 177 The initial stage of continuous slashing. In the sky, with a loud rumble, everyone looked sideways, only to see the highest purple mansion monk. 3 golden corpses appeared out of thin air, like golden Buddha statues, and suddenly grabbed the body of a purple mansion monk from the Lingfu sect. Countless spiritual shields were shattered, and the golden bowl magic weapon was also smashed away by the golden corpses. The terrifying sound resounded through the world. In an instant, a purple mansion monk from the Lingfu sect died on the spot. Even the corpse was taken away by the black-robed monk, but the 3 golden corpses were not done yet, and they wanted to attack another purple mansion monk from the Lingfu sect. However, in the distance, countless spiritual talismans slowly unfolded in the air like a scroll, and then formed a small magical power that seemed to be close at hand and far away. It enveloped the 3 golden corpses. The faces of the 3 golden corpses changed drastically, and the next moment, their claws felt like they had grabbed nothingness and caught nothing. Behind him, a Taoist in yellow robes flew over with an angry voice, "Golden Corpse Wanderer, you sneak attacked my Lingfu sect disciples, so I'll take your 3 golden evil corpses and your head as sacrifices. Old Taoist Jin Guang, you are quite arrogant." Let's see if you can still be arrogant after becoming a corpse cultivator. Golden Corpse Wanderer stretched out his lips strangely. The next moment, a ripple appeared in front of him, and more than a dozen black coffins flew out. Each coffin was 3 or 4 feet in size. Jin Guang Wanderer was horrified again. There was obviously a great spiritual power coming out of the coffin. In front of him, a scroll of spiritual talisman appeared again, like an ink painting slowly unfolding. More than a dozen black coffins were opened, but surprisingly, they were more than a dozen ordinary third-level blood corpses. The next moment, the blood corpses suddenly expanded and began to explode. The terrifying power made Jin Guang Wanderer retreat. And with the explosion, the entire camp of demon cultivators and corpse cultivators, as if predicted, shook off their opponents and began to retreat. Hurry up and keep them. Jin Guang Sanren was furious. The demon sect actually ran away after the sneak attack. If they lost a purple mansion cultivator every time, and the enemy added a purple mansion corpse, they would be unable to fight. There were only 10 golden core true men in the 3 sects of Zhao State. Except for the 4 people of Qingxun sect, the other 2 sects had 3 people each. The main core strength was still the purple mansion of each sect. The purple mansion cultivators from Lingfu sect who came to Xi'an City, including the reinforcements of the purple mansion family, totaled only more than 10 people. Now that one of them was killed, they were all a little furious. At the foundation building battlefield 100 meters high, all the cultivators began to retreat at this moment. The foundation building corpse cultivator who was fighting against Lin Shiming had already produced 5 complete blood corpses and 1 half-refined blood corpse, a total of 5 forces in the early stage of foundation building, but failed to defeat Lin Shiming. He felt a gloomy look. It seemed that he was about to defeat him, but he had to retreat. Leave your body for me. The foundation building corpse cultivator waved his sleeves, and the 5 blood corpses retreated together. However, what he didn't know was that at this moment, Lin Shiming's eyes shone brightly. Then, a mini drum appeared in his hand, and he hammered it. Waves of sound suddenly spread out in all directions, and this time they were all directed at the corpse cultivators. Although these corpse cultivators had powerful spiritual consciousness, each of them controlled 3 or 4 blood corpses of the same level, and their spiritual consciousness had long been overwhelmed. Many foundation building corpse cultivators covered their heads and screamed. The blood corpses also showed obvious pauses. Lin Shiming's body instantly became like a ghost, and white silkworm spider silks flew towards the heads of the corpse cultivators. The silkworm spider silk was originally colorless and tasteless. It was affected by the shocking drum and combined with Lin Shiming's cracking blade. In a flash, 3 corpse cultivators in the early stage of foundation building were killed, and after hooking the storage bags of several people, Lin Shiming turned to other retreating cultivators again. He had almost planned all these cultivators when they were fighting just now, and he was targeting all the corpse cultivators and demon cultivators with a weak spiritual awareness. The drumstick of the shocking god drum also alarmed many cultivators, and they were even more surprised by Lin Shiming's successive killing of 3 people. However, they were far away and were not affected by the shocking god drum. But when they saw this, they put away the blood corpses one by one, and then kept their minds highly focused with nervous expressions. However, Lin Shiming only gave them a sneer in return, and a series of wood vines rose up. You know, this time he wanted to get the cave heaven pearl, so how could he let the cultivators of the corpse sect and the heavenly demon sect escape? The purple wisteria that suddenly sprouted from the ground stretched out densely and accurately at the feet of the corresponding cultivators. The terrifying speed shocked the Zhao cultivators. Not to mention the demon cultivators and corpse cultivators, these cultivators are better at corpse training, demon training, and physical skills, but swordsmanship is rarely learned. Many cultivators were instantly tied up by purple vines, most of whom were cultivators of the corpse sect. On the contrary, the cultivators of the heavenly demon sect took out some poisonous gourds again and corroded the purple vines directly. But they still tied up more than 10 cultivators. Lin Shiming waved his sleeves, and then countless flying swords flew out, forming a Xiangang sword formation, slashing at the cultivators of the corpse sect. The Xiangang sword formation does not require formations to be involved, it is just a simple combination of sword formations. As early as Lin Shiming returned to Xi'an City, he bought all of them. Combined with the silk of the silkworm spider, 5 more cultivators of the corpse sect were killed. The remaining few cultivators who were tied up were shot out from the bottom of the cave by the purple gold spirit spears of countless purple gold vines, and then shot and killed 5 cultivators in the early stage of foundation building. 10 people were killed instantly at once. Lin Shiming was more demon cultivator than the demon cultivator at this moment. However, it was not over yet. Lin Shiming took out the heavenly demon bag again and released the strong wind into the air, preparing to keep 3 more people. 20 people were gathered, and these 3 people were also the cultivators of the heavenly demon sect with a guard magic weapon. The 3 people were horrified and cursed in their hearts. Before this, there had never been a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building who attacked the cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. Now in their eyes, Lin Shiming was a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building who was hiding his cultivation. Otherwise, why would his true essence, reserves and spiritual consciousness strength be in the late stage of foundation building? Moreover, Lin Shiming was even more insidious. He had been hiding for so long, and actually attacked these cultivators in the early stage of foundation building when the heavenly demon sect and the corpse training sect were retreating. The strong wind of the heavenly demon bag was extremely fierce. At this moment, the heavenly demon sect and the corpse training sect were retreating again, and the purple mansion cultivators in the sky were even more angry. No matter how bad the 3 people looked, they had to control a heavenly demon banner and wave it towards Lin Shiming. Countless demons began to self-destruct and rush towards the heavenly demon bag. It was just the heavenly demon bag that blocked it, but what greeted it was the whirlwind of the heavenly sword formation. With the release of a spiritual art, the 108 swords of the heavenly sword formation formed a huge lightsaber and slashed down at the 3 demon cultivators. While Lin Shiming was attacking, he also attracted the attention of the demon cultivators in the late stage of foundation building. 2 demon cultivators of the heavenly demon sect in the late stage of foundation building suddenly stopped and rushed towards Lin Shiming with magic blades in hand. These 2 were obviously physical cultivators, and they wanted to break the siege of the 3 cultivators in the early stage of foundation building. However, the next moment, a fiery red monkey suddenly lifted up a Zuanling mountain and smashed it towards them. This time, Zuanling mountain was not only extremely heavy, but also contaminated with a strange fire of the red-haired demon monkey, burning extremely vigorously. The 2 demon cultivators in the late stage of foundation building could not help but dodge, but with this dodge, Lin Shiming had already killed the 3 demon cultivators in the early stage of foundation building on the spot. The 2 wanted to kill, but they didn't expect that Lin Shiming was not moved at all and retreated towards the city wall behind him. Shameless. A cultivator in the late foundation building stage kills a cultivator in the early foundation building stage. We will kill you in the next battle. The 2 demon cultivators hated them secretly, but at this time, the cultivator in the late foundation building stage from Zhao State also arrived, and the 2 could only retreat into the demon fog with hatred. Chapter 178, Treasure Exchange. Lin Shiming watched the demon cultivators retreat into the magic fog, and the black fog slowly retreated towards the Tongshan River. Lin Shiming's heart was slowly put down. In his hand, a medium-grade spirit stone was constantly absorbed by him. This time, he killed a full 17 foundation building early-stage cultivators. Even the 17 he picked were obviously foundation building families from the Xianmo sect and the Lianchi sect. Lianchi was far less powerful than the formal disciples of the Lianchi sect and the Xianmo sect. But the consumption of true essence was really not small. If it were an ordinary foundation building middle stage cultivator, it would have dried up long ago. This time, he also used all his strength. The consciousness of the late stage of foundation building was revealed. The purple wood heart sutra and the wood vine technique also exposed their full strength, and even the red-haired demon monkey was exposed. It can be said that in a short period of time, all of his chassis, except for the purple wood Zuanshan sword formation, were thrown out. In the next battle, I'm afraid that a late stage of foundation building cultivator will target him. But what if he targets him at that time? Lin Shiming couldn't help but smile and thought. After this battle, he was ready to exchange the cave beads, and then go out to retrieve the golden winged mantis and the top-grade spirit stone, so as to break through the middle stage of foundation building. At that time, with a top-grade array sword, he was really not afraid of ordinary late-stage foundation building cultivators. Just Zixu and Sanrun. Lin Shiming frowned again. After the news of this battle, Zixu and Sanrun would doubt whether there was really a problem with his Zimu Heart Sutra. Zixu and Sanrun had tested him on this matter in Fangmu Mountain. He could only hope that Zixuan Sanren would think that his hidden spirit body was on. Lin Shiming shook his head and stopped thinking about it. He could not avoid a full-strength attack today, unless he was willing to fight and sneak attack again and again. But after seeing the Xianmo sect and the Lianxi sect, even the Purple Mansion cultivators would sneak attack without the demeanor of a strong man. In that way, the risk would be even greater. Of course, what worried him most was how long Xianhao could hold on. The cultivators of the Heavenly Demon sect and the Corpse Training sect are completely dependent on fighting to support fighting. Killing people can get materials for corpse training and spirits. On the contrary, the cultivators of the Zhao Kingdom can only get a few bloody corpses without any pain and some magic banners after killing people. However, with the skills of the cultivators of the Zhao Kingdom, these weapons are not very useful. This time, a Purple Mansion cultivator died in the Zhao Kingdom, and next time, the Corpse Training sect will have one more corpse general. Even though it takes a lot of rare materials to transform the recently dead cultivators into corpse training, and there is a certain possibility of failure, it should be known that this is a war between the two countries, a battle between good and evil. The Corpse Training sect rules the entire Yan Kingdom, so naturally they will not be stingy with these materials. With this thought, Lin Shiming became more anxious, and it was urgent to improve his strength as soon as possible. At this time, Lin Xianxi and other members of the Lin family also rushed over. Lin Xianxi's eyes were not good at the moment. He did not think it was a good thing for Lin Xianxi to be in the limelight. Lin Haoyan was also a little puzzled at this moment, but those Kagan monks, such as Lin Shiyi and Lin Haoxuan, were full of pride. Shiming, do you know that the demon sect is looking for monks with extraordinary talents, and even launched a war? There are also rumors that the demon sect covets some genius spiritual roots and special spiritual bodies. Lin Xianxi said with some dissatisfaction. Since Lin Shiming came back, he himself has never taken risks again. In his opinion, Lin Shiming is the one who should not take risks the most. Seventh uncle, father, I just found an opportunity to break through. Lin Shiming had an excuse long ago, and when he said it at this moment, Lin Xianxi and Lin Haoyan changed color at the same time, and then they were ecstatic. Lin Shiming broke through the foundation at the age of 30, and now only 7 years have passed, and he has encountered the threshold of the middle stage of the foundation. This speed is too fast. Good, good, good. Lin Xianxi said 3 good words in a row. At this moment, he was full of energy. That joy also made Lin Shiming a little happy. From the beast tide to the invasion of the Heavenly Demon sect, the 7th uncle rarely had such a happy look in the past 10 years. Shiming, I have the military merits of 10 late-stage foundation building cultivators. I will exchange them for elixirs for you now. Lin Haoyan, who was beside him, also looked at Lin Shiming. Shiming, here are 200,000 spiritual stones. Then even those key cultivating cultivators Lin Shiyi, Lin Haoyan and others wanted to speak. Lin Shiming felt warm in his heart and strengthened his belief. Thank you, 7th uncle, father, and all the elders and brothers for your kindness. Shiming has already made preparations. Let's exchange more spiritual talismans and elixirs. The next war may be more dangerous. Lin Shiming thanked them one by one. Then he followed a group of people back to the courtyard. During this period, many foundation-building families sent messages to the Lin family, wanting to form an alliance. If at the beginning, the foundation-building families looked at the beast-controlling ring magic weapon in the sky and had the confidence to expel the corpse-cultivating sect and the Heavenly Demon sect, then at this moment, after countless deaths and even relatives and brothers being trained into corpses or demons in the Heavenly Demon banner, they just wanted to survive this war. The strength shown by the Lin family this time was enough to move them. Father, you should get to know these families more often, but remember not to make promises, and don't be distant. Seeing these family cultivators he wanted to get to know, Lin Shiming also sent a message to Lin Haoyan. Even though Zixuan Sanren was taking care of him, Lin Shiming still didn't trust the sect cultivators at this moment, and at the same time, he didn't put all his treasures on the sect cultivators. Although these foundation-building families are not very powerful, they are very good at obtaining information and seeking perfection in the face of danger. It is definitely not a bad thing to get to know them more often. Lin Haoyan nodded, and after talking for a while, Lin Shiming went to the demon-slaying building with Lin Xianxi to exchange treasures. In front of the demon-slaying building, there was a crowd of people, and many cultivators came in and out. They were all cultivators who had just gathered enough demons to exchange treasures. Lin Shiming was also following behind Lin Xianzi at this moment, silent, like a junior who followed Lin Xianzi to see the world. Lin Xianzi, on the other hand, knew many monks from the sects and had been talking to them. Even if he didn't know them, he would still greet them from afar when he met some monks with unfathomable cultivation. Soon, he came to the screen of the treasure list. Lin Xianzi concentrated on reading the list. The heads of 10 late-stage foundation-building monks could still be exchanged for a lot of good things. Lin Shiming followed, scanning the screen as if watching a circus, and then looked at those precious third-level treasures with a burst of enthusiasm. Then he took out a token that recorded his military exploits, and after reading it, his eyes were disappointed. Some monks next to him didn't notice Lin Shiming's expression, but the great perfection monk who was responsible for handing over the treasures couldn't help but look at Lin Shiming with some contempt. This kind of novice monk who looks like a family seed is actually the easiest to die in this kind of sect war. What he didn't know was that Lin Shiming was also relieved in his heart. The cave sky bead is still there. Please subscribe, and if you have a book list, please help out a book list. Chapter 179 Planning. Inside the demon-slaying tower, under the long screen, Lin Xianzi's eyes finally fixed. Deacon Wei, please help me get the 3 purities pian pill. Lin Xianzi handed over the token representing his identity to pot-bellied deacon of the Kingswan sect. The demon-slaying tower had people from the 3 sects, so the deacon was naturally one person from each of the 3 sects. This cultivator Wei was from the Kingswan sect. Fellow Taoist Lin, you're too polite. I'll take care of it for you right away. Deacon Wei took the token, checked it, took out the pill bottle, handed it to Lin Xianzi, and then his eyes fell on Lin Shiming next to him. The effect of the 3 purities pian pill is effective for cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building, and now Lin Xianzi exchanged this pill for Lin Shiming next to him. Fellow Taoist Lin, I'd like to say something here. During the war, you should focus on your own cultivation. Thank you for the reminder, Deacon Wei. Lin Xianzi also bowed. On the contrary, at this moment, Lin Shiming's eyes moved left and right, and he seemed a little dissatisfied. Deacon Wei, help me change a heavier magic weapon, the heavier the better. Lin Shiming said, and at the same time handed over the token in a very ostentatious manner. Heavy magic weapon. Deacon Wei's face was also a little bad. He was a great perfection of foundation building, and at least he was a peer of Lin Xianzi. Although he heard that Lin Shiming had good talent and strength, with such a mentality, how could he achieve great things? Deacon Wei didn't say much for Lin Xianzi's sake. He first looked at the token and found that there were only 20 contribution points in the initial stage of foundation building. Then he pointed to a series of third-level low-grade magic weapons on the screen and said, "Can't you change it to third-level middle-grade or third-level high-grade? There's a bead magic weapon." Deacon Wei replied coldly. Then he pointed to the cave sky bead. At this moment, Lin Shiming was also worried. He didn't expect that Deacon Wei was so knowledgeable. He picked up the key point right away. How heavy is he? Although Lin Shiming was extremely excited in his heart, he was still calm on the surface. You can try. Deacon Wei threw the bead directly in front of Lin Shiming. Lin Shiming felt like a whole mountain was pressing down on him when he caught it, which was heavier than the full-strength punch of the red-haired demon monkey. Finally, he used his true energy to barely catch it. Okay, let's change it. Lin Shiming said affirmatively, his eyes full of joy. And Deacon Wei did not say anything, and crossed out the contribution points of the token with a stroke on the token. Then he said, "It's okay, but this magic weapon is more recognizable to its master." When Lin Shiming heard this, he tried his true energy, and the next moment his face fell. Another meaning of recognizing the master is that it cannot be refined. A bead that cannot be refined, no matter how heavy it is, cannot play a miraculous role in battle. Deacon Wei waved his sleeves and turned around to continue guarding the counter, not giving Lin Shiming a chance to continue speaking. Lin Shiming had no choice but to follow Lin Xianzi back to his residence. Along the way, Lin Xianzi did not speak, and did not ask about the beads. And Lin Shiming did not speak, talking about this matter. As soon as he returned to his residence, Lin Xianzi threw out several formation flags, and skillfully shut out a series of spiritual lights. As the soul-isolating formations covered one after another, Lin Xianzi turned to look at Lin Shiming, staring at him without saying a word. The meaning was self-evident. Lin Shiming immediately knew that he could no longer hide it. With a degree of his acting, anyone who was familiar with him would notice it, and Lin Yi was naturally one of them. Seventh uncle, my mantis felt something good again, so I exchanged it. Lin Yi continued to make the excuse he had made for the previous incident in Peach Blossom Valley. Anyway, it was the mantis that found the opportunity, and the golden mantis had some ability, which was more reasonable. He didn't want to tell Lin Yi about a matter of the cave bead, just like when he modified the skills that day. Lin Yi sealed his memory. Okay. Lin Yi didn't ask any more questions, and then gave the exchanged pills to Lin Yi, and then said, if you don't understand, you can ask me at any time. In addition, if you break through, I will help you submit the closed death pass this time, and you don't have to fight in the battlefields in the future. Thank you, seventh uncle. Lin Yi looked up, a little touched. At this time, Lin Yi still chose to exchange pills for him instead of increasing his combat effectiveness. But he knew that he couldn't change Lin Yi. He could only remember this kindness and keep moving forward with the hope of the Lin family. The seventh uncle left, also with a heavy feeling, and even more with a sustenance. Lin Yi shook his head and took out the Dongshan pearl. The Dongshan pearl was very heavy, like a mountain. If it wasn't supported by the true essence, Lin Yi felt that the bead would directly break his hand. You know, he is a physical cultivator. However, the heavier it was, the more happy Lin Yi was in his heart. The heavier the Dongshan world was, the larger the internal space was. The Dongshan pearl was not an absolute sphere, but an oval bead with a gray surface, and the material was neither stone nor jade. After looking at it for a long time, Lin Yi put away the cave bead, but did not immediately put it into his danshan and combine it with his spiritual platform. Instead, he began to practice the Purple Wood Heart Sutra. Since Lin Yi returned to Cheyenne City, his practice has become smoother and smoother, and his cultivation has improved day by day. This is because his true essence has been polished to the extreme, not much worse than the middle stage of foundation building. At this moment, he is only one step away from the middle stage of foundation building, and it will be a natural success. In an unknown attic, a blue-robed monk sat in the main seat of the hall, and a late-stage foundation building monk below him, hunched over and reported in detail. Report to Uncle Dong, a full 120 treasure maps of the demon-slaying tower have been distributed. Good, well done, counting the ones distributed on the black market a few times before. The mysterious medicine garden in the Kingsun secret realm will definitely be opened this time. The blue-robed monk tapped the Nanmu armrest of the throne with his index and middle fingers, looking a little excited. By the way, Uncle Dong, that bead was also exchanged by someone. The late foundation building cultivator continued. Oh, who exchanged it? A cultivator from a small family in Yunzhou in the Kingsun sect. He looks extremely young and has no experience. But he is guiding me in a roundabout way. Maybe he is lucky. It doesn't seem like he deliberately exchanged it. If he guides me, pay attention to it. If his cultivation level breaks through recently, or he masters that magic weapon, report to me quickly. After the blue-robed cultivator finished speaking, his eyes also looked into the void. He had studied that bead for decades. Even with his purple mansion cultivation, he couldn't do anything about it. The weight of the bead was only equivalent to the foundation building magic weapon, and it was not even enough for the materials of the company commander's magic weapon. After thinking about it, he stopped caring about it, but thought of the treasure map, and even more of the medicine garden in the Kingsun secret realm. Speaking of this medicine garden, he found it when he participated in the Kingsun sect's Zhuanpan secret realm last time, but he couldn't open it at that time. Now he has become a purple mansion cultivator, but he has not forgotten to continue planning. It's just that the formation of the medicine garden is a little cruel, and it's not easy to recruit people from our sect. Thank you for the reward from the dark and violent heart. Chapter 180 Spying. 3 days passed. Lin Yi opened his eyes and finished practicing the Purple Wood Heart Sutra. He only felt the true energy in his body rolling like clouds, surging vigorously. After noticing that some of the faint spiritual consciousness in this small building disappeared, he was completely relieved and took out the Dongshan pearl. The pearl was still ordinary gray, and he held the pearl to his chest. The secondary spirit platform evolved from the heart of the sky wood began to slowly release gravity. Unlike the true energy input into the spirit pearl, the gravity released by the spirit platform instantly attracted the Dongshan pearl. Lin Yi's expression moved slightly, and he quietly felt the magic of the Dongshan pearl. The Dongshan Pearl is worthy of being a magic weapon of the big world. It soon emitted a faint light and rotated faster and faster. Seeing this, he no longer restricted the spirit platform, released the gravity, and drew out a stream of extremely pure true energy from the spirit platform, began to wrap the Dongshan Pearl, and went towards his body. The moment the Dongshan Pearl touched the spirit platform, Lin Shiming only felt a devastating suction force appear in the spirit platform. In the secondary spiritual platform, the true essence began to dissipate rapidly, and disappeared completely in an instant. And you know, the secondary spiritual platform can contain 3 times the true essence of the main spiritual platform. Lin Shiming was frightened and hurriedly took out the spiritual milk and the middle-grade spiritual stone, as well as a handful of pills to restore the true essence. He swallowed them all in one gulp, and then began to refine them quickly. What made Lin Shiming sluggish was that the pill and the spiritual milk he had just swallowed were absorbed cleanly in an instant before he could refine them, and the original true essence in his body began to slowly dissipate and disappear. Lin Shiming had to take out the pill again and use the spiritual stone to set up a small-scale spiritual formation around it. After a long time, the cave sky bead was silent, and at this time, Lin Shiming's body was covered with sweat. He didn't expect that the true essence absorbed by this cave sky bead was so terrifying. Lin Shiming didn't dare to check it at the first time, but quickly practiced a purple wood heart sutra and began to recover. Another half-day passed, and he felt relieved when he felt that most of the true essence in his body had recovered. At this time, when he looked inside his secondary spiritual platform, he saw a strange white light spot. When his spiritual consciousness probed into it, a magical suction force appeared. This suction force was not strong and was still under the control of his mind. Lin Shiming released his spiritual consciousness and entered. The next moment, he felt dizzy. With a ray of light entering his eyes, he suddenly saw a world of 100 feet in size. What he saw was overgrown with weeds and a wasteland. Even the spiritual medicine garden in front of the only thatched cottage was dilapidated, and no one took care of it. There were a few spiritual herbs that were about to wither, and the spiritual energy was even thinner. Even so, Lin Shiming was still very excited. The preciousness of the cave world was not the items inside it, but the world itself. If the spiritual energy was insufficient, the spiritual veins could be introduced. If the spiritual medicine garden was barren, it could be retended and reclaimed. Moreover, with this cave world, Lin Shiming will not only be able to take treasures conveniently in the future, but also be able to move spiritual plants such as the small magical tree into the cave world. Otherwise, it is easy to have unnecessary changes in Fangmu Mountain. At the same time, it is also convenient for him to cultivate at any time and speed up the growth of spiritual plants. Lin Shiming continued to look at the entire cave world with his spiritual sense. After confirming that there were no unexpected factors, he also excitedly withdrew from the cave world. However, the cave world took root in his spiritual platform. He found that the true essence automatically absorbed and refined by the secondary spiritual platform was all absorbed by the cave world. His secondary spiritual platform was refined by the heart of the wood demon, and it can automatically absorb true essence. Fortunately, the speed is synchronized with the absorption degree of the spiritual platform, and he still uses his own spiritual platform for cultivation. For him, it did affect the recovery speed of some true essence, but overall, it was harmless. Next, Lin Shiming tried to put in the spirit beast and the magic weapon. Taking it out was like a storage bag, which was extremely convenient, and made Lin Shiming completely smile, just like the first flying sword when he started practicing, and played with it for a long time. However, at this time, Lin Shiming only felt a throbbing in his heart, and his spiritual contract was somewhat pulled and changed. The next moment, the system prompt also appeared. Pay attention to your spiritual beast, it has been spied on. The system prompt was obviously a reminder of the golden-winged mantis, and the red-haired demon monkey was on him, without any surprise. Lin Shiming was a little anxious. You know, where the golden-winged mantis is, there is not only the golden-winged mantis, but also 2 top-grade magic tools, several top-grade magic tools, and dozens of top-grade spiritual stones. Especially the top-grade spiritual stones, this is the biggest treasure for him to break through the middle stage of foundation building in a short period of time. Lin Shiming had some thoughts in his mind, and he didn't want to stay any longer. He opened the formation of the house, and then sent a message to Lin Xianzi, first asking for resignation. He also sent a message to Xian, asking him to report on his behalf, and at the same time, he applied for a city exit order from the other party before leaving the city. Xian did not stop him. The Lin family was not a frontline family from the beginning. They only took the blame and made meritorious contributions because of the plunder of Yunjing Mountain. With his record of killing 20 people of the same level, no one would say much. But when he comes back, he will inevitably be interrogated. On an unnamed hill, there is a green shade and many tall trees. Deep in the forest, there is a huge cave. In the huge cave, a golden mantis was lying quietly on a stone wall, motionless. Only the mouth moving up and down indicated that the mantis had not lost its vitality. A ray of spiritual light fell from the sky, and then a figure in a green shirt walked into the cave. It was Lin Shiming, who had been wandering outside for a long time. If the situation was not urgent, Lin Shiming would definitely turn a few more times. But now that he saw that the golden-winged mantis was safe, he was relieved. As soon as the golden-winged mantis saw its master coming, it squeaked and turned into golden light, and flew in front of Lin Shiming. Its golden triangular head kept rubbing against Lin Shiming's waist. It squeaked excitedly, like a woman who stayed at home. Without Lin Shiming, the golden-winged mantis naturally couldn't open the storage bag. Lin Shiming was also very happy to see the golden-winged mantis, and then took out the spiritual water and beast-raising pills for the latter. This time, the beast-raising pills were almost all his inventory. After all, the beast-raising pills were only second-level beast-raising pills, and the golden-winged mantis could eat more than 10 in one breath. The golden-winged mantis was really suffocated, and ate most of the beast-raising pills in one breath, and ate a lot of spiritual water and beast meat before stopping. But to his surprise, after the golden-winged mantis was full, it did not enter his beast bag at ease, but continued to squeak. Lin Yi also sent out angry emotions. "You mean, wait here for a while, who are you going to fight?" Lin Shiming asked hesitantly. The golden-winged mantis looked exactly like the red-haired demon monkey who had just broken through. After the demon monkey broke through, it wanted to compete with a golden-winged mantis. The golden-winged mantis squeaked more urgently, and its triangular head nodded continuously. Lin Shiming was still a little hesitant, but when he thought of the system prompt, he guessed that this matter might be related to that spy. Please subscribe, please subscribe. Also, if you have a family book list, please help me and add it to the book list. Thank you very much. Chapter 181 Dragon Lizard. The cave of Wuming Mountain is very spacious, and the golden-winged mantis is lying on the stone wall again. The sharp mouth under the golden triangular head, one jaw and one closed, looks very leisurely. The golden insect wings are lazily overlapped together, giving people the illusion of taking a nap. The whole cave is extremely quiet. Except for the breeze blowing from the cave entrance, there is no other sound after the stone wall rustles. At this time, deeper underground, a yellowish-brown spiritual light quietly approached. The spiritual light is very huge, but the movement is very careful. It seems to be familiar with the underground shuttle. Obviously, it has come here a lot during this period. After seeing that the golden-winged mantis still did not move, the yellowish-brown spiritual light moved carefully underground for several times. After moving several times, it slowly climbed up. The strange thing is that the yellowish-brown spiritual light, when it touched the stone wall, turned into a gray-white spiritual light again, and became the same color as the stone wall. Chameleon lizard. Not far from the golden-winged mantis, a transparent figure in a green Taoist robe fell into deep thought. This figure was exactly Lin Shiming, who was hiding behind, but this time the bait was the golden mantis, so he simply wore the Kinglian Taoist robe on himself. After feeling the underground escape light, Lin Shiming also felt very strange. You know, the Kinglian Taoist robe on his body was made of the skin of a chameleon lizard. At this moment, under Lin Shiming's gaze, the gray-white escape light continued to rise upwards, obviously heading towards the golden mantis. The golden mantis had not yet discovered it, so Lin Shiming had to use the spiritual contract to sense and remind the golden mantis. Almost at the same time as the reminder, the gray-white escape light suddenly rushed out of the stone wall, and then turned into a huge meat mouth, swallowing the golden mantis fiercely. The golden mantis was reminded and was also very alert, and it was angry and immediately flapped its 6 wings, leaving an afterimage. Then 2 huge golden sickle feet slashed at the lizard fiercely. However, to Lin Shiming's surprise, layers of sand shields appeared around the lizard, which were somewhat similar to the spell cast by Lin Yi. But this lizard was obviously more terrifying. The quicksand shield roared and blocked the golden foot. However, the next moment, the sand dispersed, and a yellowish-brown spiritual light ball appeared in a huge mouth. Breath. Lin Shiming was also shocked. This kind of breath is exclusive to dragon monsters. This lizard is not just a chameleon lizard, but a dragon lizard. Lin Shiming only felt a surge of excitement in his heart. No matter what kind of monsters in this world, as long as they have dragon blood, they are definitely amazing monsters. Moreover, dragon monsters have another biggest feature, which is that the body refining effect is extremely strong. Among them, the effect of the dragon is the best, and the dragon blood alone is an extremely precious thing. While Lin Shiming was thinking, the breath had already sprayed fiercely on the golden-winged mantis, but was torn apart by the golden foot. But the residual power also made the golden-winged mantis particularly angry, and it kept squeaking. The dragon lizard had not stopped yet, and it stretched out its long tongue again, trying to roll the mantis in. However, at this time, Lin Shiming moved. He beat a shocking drum violently. As the spiritual pattern surged, another god-breaking blade fell on the dragon lizard's forehead. The dragon lizard made a harsh sound, and the sand shield on its body began to condense automatically. And its body began to dive downwards automatically. However, Lin Shiming, who was well prepared, would never make a mistake. He sent out a flag, and a spiritual formation rose up, directly breaking the dragon lizard's earth escape technique. Then several purple gold vines spread up, tying the dragon lizard into purple-brown. The next moment, a fiery red-haired demon monkey appeared, raised the Zuanling mountain, and smashed it towards the dragon lizard. The mountain-like Zuanling mountain hit the dragon lizard directly smashing the sand shield, and then the purple-golden spear pierced the dragon lizard's neck. The sand spilled and fell, and the purple-gold vines also retracted under Lin Shiming's spiritual technique. The spiritual light was exhausted, revealing a 3-meter-tall giant lizard, which was covered with earth-yellow spiritual patterns and ugly meatballs. The most peculiar thing was that there was a small bulge on his forehead. The golden-winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey all rushed towards the corpse with a roar, obviously wanting to feast on the dragon lizard. The dragon lizard wanted to eat them, but they also coveted the meat of the dragon beast. Lin Shiming also stepped forward and cut off the 2 legs of the dragon lizard, giving one to each of the 2 beasts, and the rest were all taken into the cave world. The blood and flesh of this dragon lizard are top-grade treasures for body refining, and its claws and tail are also top-grade materials for refining weapons. Lin Shiming naturally couldn't let these 2 beasts harm it. It's just a pity that this dragon lizard is obviously a young demon beast, otherwise when the bulge grows horns, its value will increase hundreds of times. Of course, at that time, he may not be able to kill it. The 2 beasts were obviously a little dissatisfied with only getting such a calf, but Lin Shiming looked at them and knocked on their foreheads twice, and the 2 beasts obediently gnawed the calf in their hands. The golden-winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey quickly ate the lizard's calf completely. Both spirit beasts were ruddy and full of blood. One was howling, and the other was squeaking non-stop, jumping up and down. This scene made Lin Shiming feel very strange, and he was also very interested in the flesh and blood of the dragon lizard. Whether his mountain ape body refining technique can be promoted to the level of a foundation building body refining cultivator depends on this time. After circling a few times, the red-haired demon monkey rushed to Lin Shiming's waist, obviously going back to the spirit beast bag to sleep. What surprised Lin Shiming was that the golden-winged mantis had no intention of going back. Its reddish-gold head squeaked at Lin Shiming, and then its head leaned to the side, which was the direction from which the dragon lizard came. Seeing this, Lin Shiming's interest increased greatly. The golden-winged mantis's behavior was clearly hinting that he should find the dragon lizard's cave. Lin Shiming also released his spiritual consciousness, and at the same time took out the Earth Escape Talisman and began to escape underground to pursue. The golden-winged mantis also took the lead, constantly guiding Lin Shiming underground. After twisting and turning, and passing countless hills, it finally stopped in a rift. When drilling out of the ground, Lin Shiming felt that the spiritual energy around him was extremely overwhelming, and it was obviously a natural spiritual vein. The level of the spiritual vein reached the level of the lower 3rd grade spiritual vein, but it was a spiritual vein with an earth attribute. Lin Shiming's excitement at this moment had already overflowed into words. When his spiritual sense probed out, he found that this rift was the same as the yellow grade secret realm he had discovered before. It was a natural spiritual formation that held the spiritual energy of the spiritual vein inside, gathering it without dispersing it. As a result, the spiritual energy of the spiritual vein became more and more dense. Lin Shiming was lucky. If you were replaced by an ordinary earth-attributed cultivator, the speed of cultivation here would definitely be twice as fast. There were not many plants in the rift, and Lin Shiming's spiritual sense quickly found the dragon lizard's cave. The golden-winged mantis flapped its wings and instantly turned into golden light and flew towards the cave. It was obvious that there were spiritual creatures in the cave that the golden-winged mantis coveted. After Lin Shiming realized that there were no dangerous spiritual beasts, he quickly followed. Chapter 182 Retreat. The dragon lizard's cave is deep in the rift valley, with a circular hole 3 meters high. The cave is full of traces of the dragon lizard crawling. Outside the cave, countless animal bones are accumulated. Obviously, they are all left by the dragon lizard after eating. They are casually spread at the entrance of the cave. Some are large and some are small, forming a pile of grains. These bone piles are also what the dragon lizard uses to warn other monsters. The entrance of the cave is not deep, and the bottom is soon seen. The deepest part is a large stone hall. As soon as I entered the entrance of the cave, I saw the golden-winged mantis flying in front of a 3-color grass spiritual plant and eating it directly. Lin Shiming was also stunned at this moment. This golden-winged mantis learned bad things from the red-haired demon monkey and actually started eating directly. At this moment, he finally discovered those spiritual plants, which were all 3-color dragon blood grass. This kind of dragon blood grass is said to grow only when there is a dragon vein, and it is also the best spiritual medicine for body refining. There are more than 30 plants in this large area in front of him, which makes Lin Shiming very happy. With these dragon blood grasses, there would be no problem for him to reach the 3rd level of foundation building. Of course, at this moment, he did not forget to put the golden mantis into the storage bag. However, the golden mantis had made great contributions, so he took another dragon blood grass and gave it to the golden mantis, otherwise the latter would squeak and make him a little upset. Then he continued to look at the entire hall in the cave. The spiritual veins obviously originated from here. At the dragon blood grass in the center, Lin Shiming also found a large piece of yellow soil. These soils were condensed and not dispersed, with a little spiritual light and full of vitality. It was the 3rd level spiritual soil that he was very familiar with before. Moreover, these spiritual soils were obviously very much, weighing more than 30 or 40 kilograms, which made the spiritual soil that was originally stretched because of the golden thunder bamboo, the sky spirit fruit and the small magical tree more abundant. Lin Shiming was extremely happy at this moment. He did not expect that he would have such a great harvest just by going out. It was a pity that he was not a spiritual seeker and could not transplant the spiritual veins. He could only call his 7th uncle to transplant them together when the time came. This place belongs to Cheyenne Hazao, the territory of the Spirit Beast sect. Naturally, the Lin family cannot use this place as an industry for the family development. Lin Shiming collected all the spiritual soil and dragon blood grass one by one and put them into the cave world. Then he took out the jade box and placed the body of the dragon lizard in it to prevent the loss of blood and spiritual energy. After everything was done, he checked the entire Rift Valley again. During this period, he found several spiritual medicines, but the guardian spirit beast was missing. Obviously, the spirit beast either ran away or became one of the bones. Before leaving, Lin Shiming divided the things in the storage bag in his body again. With the priority of checking the spirit beast bag, he did not dare to put the top-grade spirit stones and top-grade magic tools in the storage bag. In addition, the only remaining 81 spirit swallowing ants were also taken out. These 81 spirit swallowing ants, I don't know if it's because they swallow the wind, fire and sand. Now there are some golden starlight spots, the size has more than doubled, and they are full of ferocity. This made Lin Shiming very curious, so he also put the soul-devouring ants into the cave world, and took out some wind, fire and fire sands for these soul-devouring ants to devour. The number of soul ants at present was not enough to form a large scale. If the individual strength could break through the 3rd level, it might be helpful to him. After dealing with the soul-devouring ants, Lin Shiming took out a flying sword and began to rush towards Cheyenne City. When he arrived at Cheyenne City, the city guards also interrogated as usual and used the soul-asking talisman to inquire here, but they were only interrogating the spies of the demon sect, and then let Lin Shiming in. As soon as Lin Shiming returned to the attic where the Lin family was, He notified Lin Yi and went into seclusion again. This seclusion was also to break through the middle stage of foundation building. The door was closed and the formation was fully opened. Lin Shiming boiled Mingxin tea, sat under the futon, and practiced the split gout technique for half a day. After restoring his whole body's energy to the extreme, he took out the top-grade spirit stone from the cave world. A full 5 top-grade spirit stones formed a specific formation around him. The rich spiritual energy turned into a spiritual energy gust, rushing into his body. He concentrated his mind and controlled the Purple Wood Heart Sutra, transforming all the spiritual energy into true essence. Spring went and autumn came. A year had passed. The battles of all sizes had made Cheyenne City show its decline. The 100-foot-high city wall was already riddled with holes. Moreover, the purple mansion cultivators in the sky also got angry. Even this year, there were several battles between giant and cultivators. The battles between giant and Henren also made all cultivators feel the power of heaven and earth, unable to look directly at it. Among them, the names of Cheyenne Xiao's Henren and Xianjian's Henren were also resounding. On the city wall, there were even fewer Lin family members at this moment. Fortunately, the main family members were still there. Lin Yi stood on the wall and looked into the distance. His white hair was not as shiny as before. The old patriarch of the Lin family looked older and older under the pressure of the battle. At this moment, Lin Yi no longer looked like a young man, but had returned to the appearance of an old man. That day, all the Lin family members were shocked, and Lin Hao inside. He understood that the Green Lotus swordsman might have lost his sharpness and spirit. Fortunately, Lin Yi obviously still had a lot of life left, and he did not have the situation of scattered spirit. After this performance, the cultivators of the Heavenly Demon sect and the Corpse Training sect were not interested in Lin Yi. For more than a year, they had not encountered sneak attacks from the demon cultivators and the Corpse Training sect, but they were able to suppress their opponents repeatedly. Lin Hao, on the other hand, suffered a lot of injuries during this period. At this time, the black fog on the Tongshan River rose again. Enemy attack! A series of bells rang in Cheyenne City immediately, and countless cultivators flew towards the city wall. This time the black fog was obviously thicker, and the demons were moving. The magic banner in the front turned into a giant banner of 30 or 40 feet. When it was waved, several purple mansion demons were waving in it, and they were extremely ferocious. This was still revealed, and you have to know that there are other means in the black fog that the other 3 sects cannot see. On the Zhao side, Heijiao Sanren also immediately brought many purple mansion monks to greet them. Among them, Jin Guang Sanren rushed to the front. Their Lingfu sect had the most purple mansion monks who died this year, reaching 3. And one of them was successfully trained to become a 4th-level corpse general. This made him furious. However, this was not over yet. Suddenly, a coffin flew out of the black fog. The coffin was red all over. The moment it flew out of the black fog, the coffin lid fell, revealing the figure of an old man in his 60s. Master Koshi, Tianjian, please teach me. In the sky, a Lingdian sword flew out from the Zhao side. An old man in a green shirt was on the sword, pointing the sword to the sky. In addition, Master Haimo of the Sky Demon sect, Master Tian Beast of the Spirit Beast sect, Master Jin Fu of the Ling Fu sect, and Master Liu He of the Sky Demon sect appeared together. The 6 golden elixirs appeared together, and the whole scene was completely detonated. The decisive battle is coming. Please subscribe and support. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 183, Ghost. In order not to hurt their own disciples, the 6 giants Henren went up to the 9th heaven. They fought on the top, but even so, sword energy, magic blades, and corpse flames of corpses fell from the sky from time to time. Each time was like a thunder punishment. The purple mansion cultivators were fine, but the foundation building cultivators could not even avoid the residual power. As for the key training cultivators, a large number of them died. The entire Cheyenne Great Wall was like hell in an instant, and the Cheyenne Mo sect and the Corpse Training sect also launched the most fierce attack. The number of purple mansion cultivators was twice as many as before, and the number of foundation building cultivators was twice as many. As the commander at the moment, Heijao Sanren felt a chill in his heart. In the past 2 years, the Xianmo sect and the corpse training sect had obviously left some strength. Everyone defend the city wall, and there is no need to regret the talismans and magic tools. They will all be borne by the 3 sects of Zhao State afterwards. Heijao Sanren saw that many cultivators had their magic tools contaminated by the magic gourds of the Xianmo sect, and they were outnumbered, so he actually wanted to retreat and shouted. This time, he roared with magic, which rang in the ears of every cultivator of the 3 sects, boosting the morale of the 3 sects. Especially for the Immortal Cultivation families under the 3 sects, these Immortal Cultivation families were the most passive in avoiding war. Now, with the roar, everyone looked embarrassed. However, their embarrassment was not because they were embarrassed, but because in the current situation, the chances of winning were obviously not great. But if they retreated and were remembered by Heijao Sanren, they would probably die faster at that time. Lin Yi of the Lin family even received a message from the Kingsun sect, asking the Lin family and other families that were closer to the sect to set a good example of charging. However, at this moment, how could Lin Yi not understand that the city might be broken today? The message warned Lin Haoyun, and at the same time arranged for the key training cultivators in the family gate to remind Lin Shiming, and then resolutely raised the King Lian sword, with countless sword lights, and rushed forward. As long as Lin Shiming was still in seclusion, he could not retreat. The Jin family, who had also been notified, still showed little interest. Jin Bashan pretended to attack a late-stage foundation building Xianmo sect cultivator. Activate the formation. Heijao Sanren saw that the Xianmo sect's attack was particularly fierce, and the battle between the Jinden's Henren in the sky was even more intense. With a loud voice, a cultivator wearing a 4-elephant Taoist robe on the city gate also threw out a formation flag, and then the entire Xian city's defense battle began to tremble. The next moment, tens of thousands of medium-grade spirit stones were absorbed by the formation and turned into nothing. The spiritual energy of the entire spirit formation began to move continuously, and hundreds of beasts were ferocious and roaring. 10,000 beasts formation, rise. With a loud shout, tens of thousands of spirit beasts and true spirits headed towards the Xianmo sect and the corpse training sect cultivators. For a moment, it was like a rolling wave of beasts, covering the sky and the earth, and the roar of the beasts was even more deafening, as if it were a real beast tide. All the demon cultivators were in a state of panic, and they all sent their own corpse refining demons to the front, forming a wall of corpses to block the way. All the Zhao cultivators were relieved and proud, and their magic became more powerful. They just felt sad. Why didn't the sect show this powerful formation earlier? The rolling beast tide was much more terrifying than the blood corpses and demons of the corpse refining sect. An initial charge crushed almost half of the corpses of the corpse refining sect, and the demon banners of the heavenly demon sect were also shattered. Many foundation building cultivators died on the spot, and even a purple mansion cultivator was covered by the true spirit beast tide and died on the spot. The 5th level 10,000 beasts formation is really good. The person facing Black Dragon Sanren was Zuanshi Sanren of the corpse refining sect. At this moment, he was still smiling lightly. It seemed that the attack just now did not cause damage to his sect. Zuanshi, you know the power of the formation, but you still don't retreat quickly. Zhao is not a place where you demon cultivators can run rampant. Heijao Sanren also shouted angrily, and then he held the black dragon sword and slashed again. Zuanshi Sanren sneered and did not reply, and also stepped forward with the sword. However, at this moment, 3 golden corpses covered Jin Shizi and stepped forward. Unexpectedly, they arrived under the wall of Xian City. From his hands, a total of 3,600 coffins flew out, surrounding the entire Xian City. The purple mansion cultivators in the sky hurriedly thought it was not good, and they all took action, but they were dragged by the cultivators of the demon sect and the corpse sect. The next moment, 3,600 coffins were opened one after another, and countless blood corpses released by Jin Shi Sanren before appeared one after another. Not good, quickly inject spirit. Heijao Sanren Lian shouted, signaling the cultivators in the city to take out the spirit stones and restore the 10,000 beasts formation again. However, it was too late. The next moment, 3,600 blood corpses exploded one after another, turning into fierce blood mist, and millions of resentful spirits rushed towards the spirit formation. Under the blood mist, millions of resentful spirits roared, trampled, and charged. The entire spirit formation of the 10,000 Beast sect was like ice and snow melting. It didn't stop for a moment, and a large area collapsed and shattered. Many of the terrifying aftermath directly hit the monks, causing blood to ooze out of the monks' 7 orifices, and their eyes were red, just like corpses. Moreover, the millions of resentful spirits also began to self-destruct at this moment, completely blowing up the already shaky formation. The formation base was destroyed by the resentful spirits and there was no possibility of repair. Zuanshi, you dare to use resentful spirits to melt corpses. Heijiao Sanrin was furious. These 3,600 blood corpses were not only made of fallen monks, but also used the blood of millions of mortals, who were sacrificed to become resentful spirits and merged into the bloody corpses to break the formation. Without the formation, Cheyenne City would no longer have a natural barrier, and Cheyenne Province would inevitably fall into the hands of the Cheyenne Mo sect and the corpse training sect. At that time, even these Purple Mansion cultivators would die. The destruction of the formation also made the Zhao Kingdom cultivators despair. Even a group of direct disciples of the sect who had been prepared long ago began to flee directly. This was arranged by the sect disciples long ago. The speed of running was surprisingly fast, and then some foundation-building families also reacted and hurriedly retreated. At this time, no one could stop the attack of the Cheyenne Mo sect and the corpse training sect. Brothers, let's stop them first and let our disciples retreat first. Heijiao Sanrin was heartbroken at this moment. He didn't expect that the formation of Cheyenne City would be destroyed in his hands. But at this moment, their Purple Mansion cultivators could not retreat. If the Purple Mansion cultivators retreated, there would be no one to stop the Purple Mansion cultivators of the two sects. At that time, the foundation-building disciples and the key-training disciples would have no way to survive. But even if the Purple Mansion cultivators blocked them, Black Dragon Wanderer also found that at this moment, the cultivators of Zhao State were being killed one after another by the cultivators of the Demon Sect and the corpse training sect like wheat being cut. During the battle, Lin Haoyan was even more grief-stricken at this moment. Lin Xianzu rushed too far forward and was trapped by two late foundation-building cultivators and one great foundation-building cultivator. And he was powerless and unable to step forward to help. He even had to bear the pain and humiliation of taking the Lin family's key training clan members to escape. Chapter 184. The entire Cheyenne City collapsed in front of it. Lin Xianzu was a little powerless at this moment, because he rushed too far forward, and became a turtle in a jar as the demon sect thought. The two late-stage foundation-building cultivators were fine, and with his sword cultivation strength, he could handle it. But now there is another demon cultivator of the Cheyenne Mo sect who has reached the great perfection of foundation building, and that is the old demon Chen, who besieged Yunjing Mountain, Chen Yunlei. At this moment, Chen Yunlei also obviously discovered that Lin Xianzu was the cultivator that day. He was immediately furious. If it weren't for Lin Xianzu and Lin Shiming's soul-devouring ants, no one in the entire Yunjing Mountain could break through the joint efforts of him and Jin Shizi. He would not be behind, because the news was leaked, and he had to flee for his life, and missed a lot of high-quality spirit stones. The demon banner of the old demon Chen suddenly turned into a 10-foot banner, and the demons in the banner surged. There were 5 demons in the late 3rd stage alone, and 1 demon in the great perfection of foundation building. They all surged out in an instant, and the wind was strong, and the murderous light was soaring into the sky. Even Lin Xianzi, who had transformed into a sword light and directly reversed his skills, could not break out quickly. My magic banner is just missing a sword cultivator demon. Chen Liumo didn't waste any words at this moment, and the heavenly demon banner attacked Lin Xianzi fiercely. At the same time, a huge black millstone appeared above him and crushed Lin Xianzi directly. This black millstone, a top-level 3rd-grade magic weapon, pressed down, and it was like a mountain pressing down. Not to mention the terrifying gravity, it even crushed Lin Xianzi's true essence to some extent. The demon also came, and Lin Xianzi had to raise his hands suddenly and exert the Rinshu Genjinju to the extreme. A deadly golden sword was cut out, but it was blocked by the black millstone magic weapon, and countless sword ki was also wiped out by the millstone, leaving nothing behind. Lin Xianzi had to use the talisman, and what he had to face were 2 demon cultivators in the late stage of foundation building and Chen Liumo's heavenly demon banner. In an instant, he felt ashamed. Before this, he had thought of many scenes of death, but he never thought that he would die at the hands of a demon cultivator one day. He thought that after 30 years of watching the lotus and cultivating the sword, he had already achieved great enlightenment and was not afraid of life and death, but at this moment, he realized that his sword was not really indomitable. He was defeated, and his swordsmanship was also defeated. At this moment, he suddenly wanted to look back, to see Cheyenne City, to see if the Lin family had come out of retreat, to see if there was a breakthrough. However, when he looked back, he saw a blue-shirted cultivator flying over on a sword. "Shiming, what are you doing here? Run!" Lin Yi was happy and angry. The demon cultivators just thought it was funny. What's the use of a mid-stage foundation building cultivator coming here? A demon head in the late stage of foundation building can bite him to death. However, the next moment, Lin Shiming suddenly lowered his head, and from behind him, a full 81 top-grade flying swords flew over, with countless sword lights and sword energy. At this moment, not only Lin Yi was stunned, but also the other cultivators were dumbfounded. The cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building could control 81 high-grade flying swords at the same time. Even Chen Laomo felt a little exhausted. But at this moment, Lin Shiming did it. The 81 high-grade flying swords formed 9 small purplewood Zuanshan sword formations, and the 9 small purplewood Zuanshan sword formations formed a complete purplewood Zuanshan sword formation. The sword intent was endless and fiercely chopped towards the demon heads. In an instant, the demon heads of the 2 late foundation building cultivators were directly chopped into pieces and turned into black smoke and dissipated. Only Chen Laomo's foundation building great perfection demon head opened his bloody mouth and kept holding on. "Seventh uncle, retreat, my true essence can't hold on." Lin Shiming transmitted the voice fiercely. Lin Yi also understood instantly. The sudden realization just now even made Lin Yi's sword intent 3 points more fierce. The Renshu Genjinju was even used to the extreme, blocking Chen Laomo's grinding wheel magic weapon. In an instant, the black grinding disc was sprinkled with sparks all over the sky, like a rain of light, which lasted for a long time. The demon cultivators wanted to chase him again, but they found that Lin Yi had already arrived on Lin Shiming's 3rd-level top-grade spirit boat, and flew towards Cheyenne City in an instant. The 2 demon cultivators in the late stage of foundation building threw the blood-evil beads and blasted them directly towards Lin Shiming. At this moment, Lin Shiming rushed out and actually went towards the blood-evil beads. "Shiming!" Lin Yi shouted anxiously. He didn't expect Lin Shiming to do this. Even if he was the last one to leave, it should be him. "Seventh uncle, I'm still here." But the next moment, he heard Lin Shiming again, and Lin Shiming, who rushed in front, turned into a substitute straw man, and was submerged by the blood-evil thunder. This thing was the substitute straw man that Lin Shiming had plundered from the cultivators of the Heavenly Demon sect. At this moment, it also played a sufficient role. Chen Laomo wanted to take action, and took out another long spear magic weapon and shot it fiercely. At the same time, Xian also flew over. As the rear guard, he also had to retreat. He didn't expect to see Lin Yi and Lin Shiming, and even saw Lin Shiming's mid-stage foundation building cultivation, as well as the outrageous sword formation. He also used a sword, and countless purple lights surrounded him, turning into a sword beam 30 feet long, blocking the spear. The 3 of them immediately sat on the spirit boat and fled. While fleeing, Lin Shiming also stuffed a top-grade spirit stone into Lin Yi. At the same time, seeing Xian was there, he also took out a top-grade spirit stone for Xian. Making such a move was also a helpless move. The 81 top-grade magic swords really consumed too much true essence. Just now, forming a sword formation, not only did he consume most of his true essence, but even most of the true essence of the deputy spirit platform was consumed. At this critical moment, if there is no true essence, you can only seek death. As for the 7th uncle, he was almost exhausted, and lacked true essence. As for the elixir to restore spiritual energy, it was not as pure as the top-grade spirit stone. Xian came here to protect them, so he naturally couldn't refuse to give it to them. Fortunately, this top-grade spirit stone belongs to Cheyenne Hazhao, which belongs to the territory of Lingxiao sect and has nothing to do with Qingxuan sect. As long as Xian uses the top-grade spirit stone, he is not afraid that the other party will sell him out. What's more, at this moment, he has no choice. Xian was indeed a little surprised when he took the top-grade spirit stone, but after taking a look, he didn't say much and started to absorb it directly. At this time, any nonsense is courting death. If Cheyenne City falls, The entire Cheyenne Hezhou will no longer be safe. Now it is the Purple Mansion cultivators who are blocking it. When the Purple Mansion cultivators also start to flee, it will be a nightmare. Don't even think about being able to stay in Cheyenne Hezhou and hide. Once the giant and demon cultivator's spiritual consciousness sweeps, no cultivator will be able to hide. Speaking of it, Xian's relationship with the Lin family is better than that between Zixu and Sanrun and the Lin family. After all, in the past few years, he has indeed been taking care of the Lin family. Lin Xianzi also immediately recovered his true energy at this moment. He had gradually become accustomed to Lin Shiming's surprises and surprises. Over the years, Lin Shiming's surprises and surprises had already made him numb. Seeing that the two were meditating, Lin Shiming also released the red-haired demon monkey and asked him to stay on the spirit boat and be on guard at any time. At this time, Cheyenne City had also fallen into the hands of the Cheyenne Mo sect and the Lianxi sect, and this Hanmo building had become a den of demons. The city was broken too suddenly, and the treasures there were not collected. I'm afraid that the 4th level treasures can be quickly collected, but the 3rd level and 2nd level treasures are estimated to be plundered. Shiming, stick this talisman. Xian took out another green talisman and handed it to Lin Shiming. Lin Shiming was instantly overjoyed. This green talisman was called the 3rd level upper grade wind escape talisman. It was added to the 3rd level top grade spirit boat, which greatly increased the escape speed again. Chapter 185 Choice. The speed of the 3rd grade top grade spirit boat instantly increased by a level. Under the control of Lin Shiming, it headed towards Bei Hezhou, which is adjacent to Cheyenne Hezhou. Bei Hezhou is also the largest state of the Spirit Beast sect, and the main forces of the sect are there. Almost all the Zhao Kingdom cultivators also retreated to Bei Hezhou. The violent gale hit Lin Shiming's face, making him calmer. With a 3rd grade wind escape talisman, even ordinary Purple Mansion cultivators without flying magic weapons may not be able to catch up with him. But the next moment, Lin Shiming thought of his father, Lin Haoyun and others. When the city was broken, he felt a voice transmission of the Lin family members and came out of retreat. Because it was a closed-door retreat, unless the formation of the retreat was destroyed, he would not be able to detect the changes outside. At that time, he had just broken through the middle stage of foundation building, and under the Sanking Piandan given by Lin Xianzi, he consolidated his cultivation and also refined the formation sword to form the large purplewood Zuanshan sword formation. Otherwise, in the situation at that time, he might not be able to come out with Lin Xianzi. It was just because he left the retreat too hastily that he had only completely refined the purple gold gourd, and the top-grade magic sword had not yet been refined. At the same time, his mountain ape body refining technique was only at the late stage of key training. Along the way, Lin Shiming was the least injured. In recovering his true essence, his purple wood heart sutra had a natural advantage. At this moment, he could do two things at once, using his spiritual sense to observe the pursuers. At the same time, his spiritual sense kept sweeping underground. Every 1,000 miles, he waved his hand towards the ground and took out a seed of the ironthorn wood. The ironthorn wood seed appeared in the wild, and no cultivator would notice it, and it became the best mark. This was what he gave to his father before leaving. But the more he looked at it, the more frightened he became. The mark was getting bigger and bigger at a constant distance, and it was a bit messy. It was obvious that the Lin family was running away. In an endless forest, a spirit boat was flying desperately, and low-level wind spirit talismans were pasted on the spirit boat. Even though the 2nd-level spiritual talisman is not very useful for the 3rd-level spiritual boat, at this moment, all the Lin family members did not delay, desperately practicing spiritual spells and sticking spiritual talismans on the spiritual boat, even if the effect was minimal. Lin Haoyun glanced at the back again with his spiritual sense, frowned even deeper, and his face was extremely gloomy. The demon cultivators behind were less than 100 miles away. At this distance, even if they used up all their spiritual talismans and exhausted their whole body's true energy, they could not control the spiritual boat to escape. Everyone, the demon cultivators are not far away. Lin Haoyun's words also made the eyes of the dozen people on the spiritual boat dim for a moment. You know, when they came, there were 37 late-stage key training cultivators, but now there are only a dozen people left. They were about to escape from Cheyenne Hezhou, but they did not expect to be targeted by the demon cultivators. After hesitating for 3 seconds, the old generation of cultivators Lin Yuking, Lin Haoyong, Lin Haoxiao, and Lin Haoyu strode forward and suddenly stood at the same height as Lin Haoyu. Lin Yi and Lin Haoyu understood instantly and also wanted to step forward, but they were pressed back by the true energy formed by Lin Haoyu's hand. In addition, Lin Yi and Lei Zhuan, as well as several younger Haozi generations, also took firm steps at this moment. What are you doing? Are you looking down on us old guys? The Lin family has always had the tradition of leaving behind only the fire. How can there be any talk of leaving behind the old race? Lin Yuking scolded angrily. As the elder of the law enforcement hall and the great elder of the Lin family, almost all the cultivators present have been scolded by Lin Yuking. At this moment, when everyone heard this scolding, their eyes suddenly turned red. I am very pleased that you can come out. You are all good sons of the Lin family, but this time, you have a more important task, that is, inheritance. Lin Haoyu also said loudly. Once upon a time, he was also scolded by the elders in this way, and he might have been a little confused at that time. But at this moment, he felt even deeper in his heart. The Lin family not only has hundreds of immortal cultivators, but also hundreds of thousands of ordinary Lin family members. Fearless sacrifice is nothing but a moth flying into flame. In the world of immortal cultivation, as long as the inheritance is still there, everything is possible. If you can't beat key training, fight with foundation building. If you can't beat foundation building, fight with purple mansion. If purple mansion doesn't work, then golden elixir. Lin Haoyu understood a little. He grabbed the wine pot on his waist and used too much force, as if he wanted to tear the mouth of the wine pot. Born in an immortal cultivation family, they understand that inheritance is more important. Lin Yi is still very stubborn at this moment. He still walks towards Lin Yuking, muttering in his mouth that he is a physical cultivator. Stop it, Yi, you will eventually surpass me and become the first physical cultivator in the true sense of the Lin family. Lin Yuking spoke again. He actually wanted to scold, but thinking that it was the last few words, he softened a little and turned into persuasion. Master, I'll go. They are coming for me. I hope the remaining brothers and sisters can help take care of Shiki. Lei Zhuan walked out. He has the root of thunder spirit, and because he released thunder attribute spells when he broke the city, this is also the biggest problem for the Lin family. For the demon sect, other cultivators can run away, but thunder cultivators must be killed every time they see them. In this city battle, almost most of the thunder attribute cultivators were ambushed by the demon cultivators. Lei Zhuan was hiding well, and of course no one would think that there would be a thunder root cultivator in the Lin family. This time, Lin Haoyu nodded. After all, Lei Zhuan was a captive and married into the family. Lin Shiming was relieved. In fact, they were still a little worried, and this time they were hunted down, and there were indeed some problems with Lei Zhuan. It's decided. My uncle, my eldest brother Hao Yuang, my second brother Hao Shou, my sixth brother Hao Yu, and Lei Zhuan, we are responsible for staying to resist the enemy, and the rest of us will try to escape. Each person has 3 earth escape talismans. Lin Haoyu ordered. Then several elders of the Lin family also entrusted words to Lin Haoyu, and handed over the will jade slips and the treasures on their bodies that could be given to future generations to Lin Haoyu. Afterwards, Lin Haoyu and the others slowed down and waited for the demon cultivators to arrive, while Lin Haoyu and the others got off the spirit boat and used the wind escape talismans on their bodies to escape, and then used the earth escape talismans to escape. Speaking of these escape talismans, they were obtained by Lin Shiming when he killed the Wang family cultivators in the Qingyuan Mountains. If only old Seven were here. Lin Yi was also a little depressed at this moment, but he was not slow at all, and fled forward. Soon, a black spirit boat with a large banner appeared not far from the sky. Before the spirit boat arrived, countless flying knives and magic tools began to be thrown at Lin Haoyu's spirit boat. After the flying knives, it was the spirit needles. The cultivators of the heavenly demon sect did not use swords very often. Most of the battles were fought with the magic banners. One was convenient, and the other was convenient to kill the enemy and train the enemy cultivator into the magic banner to increase the power of the heavenly demon banner. But this does not mean that the cultivators of the heavenly demon sect do not know other magic tools. On the contrary, they have a lot of spirit needle magic tools, flying knife magic tools, and magic gourds that pollute magic tools. The flying knife was extremely powerful. Lin Haoyu had to use 3 third-level middle-grade magic swords to block the flying knife. After the flying knife was blocked, the flying needle magic weapon came again. For a while, Lin Haoyan was busy and overwhelmed. The magic banners of the Mo sect monks also arrived in front of him in a blink of an eye. 2 Mo sect disciples in the middle stage of foundation building, 1 Mo sect disciple in the early stage of foundation building, plus a dozen Mo sect disciples who practiced Qi. Chapter 186, Live Refining. The leading demon cultivator was a lean black-faced cultivator named Suchu. He looked at Lin Haoyan with a hawk-like look. Then he looked in the distance in 4 directions one by one. Finally, he gave orders to the Kilgan cultivators and the cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. The cultivator in the early stage of foundation building understood instantly and knew that he had no chance to catch the big fish. He was not annoyed, as this was too common in the heavenly demon sect. Only with strong strength could one have the right to choose the spoils. When Lin Haoyan saw a cultivator in the early stage of foundation building from the heavenly demon sect, who was leading a Kilgan cultivator, chasing after Lin Haoyan, he became anxious and rushed out instantly. He used the 3/3 level middle grade magic swords in his hands to the extreme and slashed at the cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. However, this proactive attack was exactly what Suchu wanted. The heavenly demon banner on the spirit boat was waved over, and the black smoke in the sky surged towards Lin Haoyan. Lin Haoyan could only keep retreating. He knew that if he was shrouded by the black fog, he would not be able to hold on for a quarter of an hour and would surely die. There was no point in staying to stop the enemy. Lin Haoyan kept dodging, but he did not expect that there was another cultivator from the Mo sect in the middle stage of foundation building. He saw another person waving a magic banner and blocking Lin Haoyan from behind. For a while, Lin Haoyan had a hard time. The other cultivators of the Lin family also faced the key training cultivators of the Mo sect. The great elder Lin Yi was injured almost as soon as he met. It is true that he is a body training cultivator, but he is very old after all, and the Mo sect cultivators are numerous and powerful. Fortunately, at this moment, Lei Zhuan performed thunder magic alone, roaring continuously, and scorched many of the magic weapons of the Mo sect key training cultivators. For a while, the effect played was even greater than that of Lin Haoyan, a cultivator of the 9th level of key training. Of course, the most critical person was Lin Haoxiao. He took out several formation flags and arranged them. He fought against 3 key training demon cultivators alone and was not at a disadvantage. At this moment, it was Lin Haoyan who was in danger. He was blocked by 2 heavenly demon banners. He could only bite the bullet, open the spiritual shield, rush into the magic fog, and control the flying sword to kill the demon. The power of the heavenly demon banner is the demons and some wronged souls in it. But what embarrassed him was that there were 10 demons in the 2 heavenly demon banners. The thin monk Suchu shouted, "Daoyi, don't rush to kill. Only by training them to death can you sacrifice and train potential demons." Suddenly, 10 demons were divided into 10 directions and sprayed their life magic energy towards Lin Haoyan. However, as soon as he finished speaking, the next moment, a dazzling spirit boat suddenly flew over. The speed of the spirit boat was so fast that the 2 demon cultivators had not reacted yet. Lin Shiming flew out of the spirit boat, and the next moment, a demon bag flew out and turned into a huge yellow bag in the sky. A fierce gust of wind sucked out the 2 mid-stage foundation building cultivators, and blew them into pieces. "How dare you!" Suchu was also angry when he saw that the person who came was a mid-stage foundation building cultivator, and hurriedly controlled the demon banner to counterattack Lin Shiming. However, he saw a golden beast ring flying out and directly tied the 2 people. The 2 arms wanted to perform spiritual spells. But only 2 sword lights passed by, and the arms of Suchu and another demon cultivator fell instantly. The demon bag emitted light again and put the 2 into the bag. The other key training cultivators were also extremely panicked at this moment, but they were killed one by Lin Xian's Kinglian sword. It can be said that they were torn into pieces and there was no body left. Lin Haoyan also fell from the sky. "Father!" Lin Shiming hurried forward to support him. "Shiming, go save Hua Ishii." Lin Haoyan spoke while holding back the blood from the corner of his mouth, pointing to the direction where Lin Hua and others were fleeing. The cultivators in the early stage of foundation building were chasing them, and even if Lin Hua and others used wind escape talismans and earth escape talismans, it would be useless. You have to know that the escape talismans of the Lin family are only 2nd level. Seeing this, Lin Shiming did not hesitate and flew away immediately. After flying for hundreds of miles, he found 2 people, Lin Hua and Lin Shi. One of them was good at using gourds, and the other was a physical cultivator. They were also the key protected objects of the family. At this moment, he was being whipped fiercely by a demon cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. A demon banner was in the air, ready to train Lin Yi's spirit and turn him into a demon at any time. The demon cultivator was grinning to the extreme at this moment, as if he had harvested a demon with great potential. Die? Lin Yi was extremely angry. This group of demon cultivators from the heavenly demon sect were really unforgivable. It would not be an exaggeration to cut them into pieces. The purple-wood Zuanshan sword flew out and instantly killed the cultivator in the early stage of foundation building. Lin Yi was fine, with a golden sand defense, and his cultivation was also at the 9th level of key training, while Lin Yi was covered in blood. After all, the body training cultivator was only at the key training level, and he fell into coma. Uncle 13, get on my spirit boat. Lin Yi fed Lin Yi a healing pill, and gave Lin Yi a bottle of healing pills, and then drove the spirit boat to find Lin Yi and others. After reuniting with Lin Yi, a quarter of an hour had passed. Shiming, we must drive the spirit boat away, otherwise the demon cultivators will catch up. Xian's face was not bad at the moment. For family members, it is natural to help them if you can. This is human nature. But there should still be some reminders. The Purple Mansion cultivators of Zhao State are not slow, and when the Purple Mansion cultivators of the Heavenly Demon Sect arrive, it will be a big trouble. After Lin Yi reunited with Lin Yi, he continued to rush towards Beizhao. On the spirit boat, everyone looked at the unconscious Lin Yi with a sad face. Lin Yi was injured too badly. Even as a body-refining cultivator, he couldn't resist at the moment. Lin Yi blamed himself and turned around anxiously. It's okay, let me do it. Lin Yi looked at the bloody and tortured Lin Yi, and saw him take out a small bottle of blood. This bottle of blood was directly and extremely rich, and there were spiritual patterns surging in it, which was obviously quite extraordinary. He helped Lin Yi up, let the latter lean on his hand, and then poured the small bottle into Lin Yi's mouth. Will this work? Lin Yuqing was also a little worried. I thought everything would be fine when Lin Yi came. But I didn't expect that Lin Yi, a potential body-refining cultivator in the family, was almost sucked out of his soul by a foundation-building cultivator. The next moment, to everyone's surprise, Lin Yi began to cough violently after taking the blood, which made everyone happy. They didn't expect it to be effective. Shiming, is that the blood of yours from a pseudo-dragon? At this moment, Xian also looked over, his face full of disbelief. Pseudo-dragon is another name for dragon beast, and its flesh and blood are very precious. Even the lowest level 3rd order dragon beast is a treasure comparable to the best magic weapon, especially for body-refining cultivators. These are elixirs that can allow body-refining cultivators to break through the realm, comparable to barrier-breaking pills. Only the blood of a dragon beast can activate Lin Yi's body and allow it to recover automatically. Yes, a dragon beast that was killed by chance. Lin Yi nodded. From the moment he took out the dragon lizard, he had no intention of concealing it. In this case, no matter how precious the dragon beast is, saving Lin Yi is the most important thing. Shiming, I wonder if I can exchange some flesh and blood of the dragon beast. Xian spoke again, with obvious excitement in his eyes. Chapter 187 Dragon Blood Pill. Xian's words surprised Lin Yi. Xian was a pure sword cultivator, and his weapons were almost all magic swords. It was almost unreasonable to ask for the blood of these dragon lizards. Brother Z, of course you can exchange, but the dragon lizard Shiming killed was not an adult dragon lizard. Lin Yi did not refuse. But it was impossible for him to exchange the whole thing. You know, whether he was practicing the mountain ape body training technique or giving it to Lin Yi, it was extremely valuable. It doesn't take much, just 30 pounds of flesh and blood, but 10 drops of blood essence. Xian said hurriedly. After he finished speaking, he seemed to see the doubts of Lin Yi and the rest of the Lin family, and then explained. Shiming, maybe the news I want to tell you may be good news. Do you know what the greatest effect of pseudo-dragon blood is? Xian pursed his lips and asked, then looked at Lin Yi, and then looked at Lin Yi. But both of them were extremely confused. It's blood. The blood of a pseudo-dragon beast is dozens of times that of an ordinary spirit beast, and it cannot be measured in quantity. This pseudo-dragon blood can be used to refine dragon blood pills in the Kingshan sect. The effect of this dragon blood pill is also very simple. It can greatly improve the blood of the cultivator. In other words, even if you are over 60 years old, as long as you are not too old and have polished your spiritual energy enough, you can take dragon blood pills at the age of 80 to break through the foundation. When Xian said this, everyone held their breath. At this moment, Lin Shiming was a little moved. The biggest mover was Lin Haoxiao, the second uncle of Lin Shiming, the seventh elder of the Lin family. His talent for formations was extremely powerful, but because he broke through the 9th level of key training a little late, he had no time to polish his true essence. In the end, after he was 60 years old, he had to give up the idea of building a foundation. But at this moment, Xian's words were no less than a long-awaited rain, which made his eyes shine infinitely. To be honest, I am also trying to improve my ki and blood in preparation for the breakthrough to the Purple Palace. Xian added. Although Xian looked like a middle-aged man, his actual age was over 180 years old. Although his ki and blood were not enough to prevent him from breaking through the Purple Palace, sufficient ki and blood could also increase his chances of breaking through. Xian should not have said this, but at this time, he took the initiative to exchange the beast blood, and he had a special relationship with the Lin family, so he said it. No problem, Senior Brother Z, don't mention whether to exchange or not. When you succeed in making the pill, if you can make more than 3 pills, just give me one back. Lin Shiming was also excited at this moment. This kind of dragon blood pill was definitely a rare treasure for their family. Lin Shiming immediately took out the jade box containing half of the dragon lizard, and then took out a small jade bottle containing 20 drops of blood essence, and handed it to Xian. Seeing Lin Shiming so straightforward, Xian was also full of joy. After putting away the jade box and jade bottle one by one, he also solemnly promised, Shiming, Xianzi, I won't say much about other things. With these pseudo-dragon blood and some special spiritual herbs, it will be no problem to refine 5 dragon blood pills. At that time, I will keep 2, and the rest, no matter how many, will be given to you. In addition, whether Zhu will be a purple mansion in the future or not, I owe the Lin family a favor. Xian's first sentence made the Lin family very happy. At least 3 dragon blood pills can allow the Lin family to have 3 more foundation building cultivators. But the last sentence is what really shocked Lin Shiming. Such a solemn favor in the world of cultivating immortals cannot be given casually. If it is not fulfilled, it will inevitably affect the breakthrough of the great realm in the future. So this time, the Lin family has at least obtained the help of a great perfection in foundation building. If Xian breaks through the Purple Mansion in the future, it will be a Purple Mansion help. With Senior Brother Z's talent, it's only a matter of time before he breaks through the Purple Mansion. Shiming here congratulates you in advance. After Lin Shiming congratulated again, everyone checked Lin Shiai's injuries again. After finding that he was getting better, Lin Shiming walked to the front of the spirit boat again and replaced Lin Xianzi, who was driving at the moment. Only those in the late stage of foundation building can fully control the 3rd level top-grade spirit boat. Lin Shiming's true essence is far more condensed than that of ordinary cultivators, and he has a secondary spirit platform. There are only 3 people on this spirit boat, Lin Shiming, Lin Xianzi and Xian. As a junior, Lin Shiming certainly took the lead and became the helmsman. At this moment of escape, everyone cannot slack off. However, while controlling the spirit boat, Lin Shiming took out the Heavenly Demon Bag, and 2 Heavenly Demon sect cultivators who had their hands and feet cut off and were dying by the strong wind came into view. The miserable appearance of the 2 was even worse than that of Lin Shiai. It made the others feel a little scared, but also a little happy. These 2 relied on their foundation building cultivation to gain the deepest hatred of the demons by torturing the monks. For such a cultivator, it would be a mercy if they were not cut into pieces. Lin Shiming did not say much, but suddenly began to activate the soul-searching technique and searched the souls of the 2 demon cultivators on the spot. The powerful divine consciousness suddenly raged into the minds of the 2 demon cultivators. The next moment, a series of wailing screams rang out, and the sea of consciousness of the 2 was shattered, and their souls were shattered and died. Both of them had the sect's jade book, which would protect them, and the soul-searching technique would yield nothing. But Lin Shiming did not really want to search their souls, but he did not want to expose the god-splitting blade, and the soul-searching technique would also let the 2 know how it felt to torture to death. Then Lin Shiming handed the storage bag to Lin Haoyun and asked his father to check the storage bags of the 2 foundation building monks. Of course, in reality, All the spoils were given to his father. Although Lin Haoyun has broken through the foundation for nearly 10 years, his true essence has not been fully polished yet, and he does not have any particularly powerful magic tools. At ordinary times, his father may not necessarily accept what he gives. Lin Haoyun's biggest wish at this time is the same as Lin Xianzi, that is, he hopes that Lin Shiming can break through the Purple Mansion and restore the former glory of the Lin family. He will not accept Lin Shiming's magic tools that are usually more powerful. Sometimes, Lin Haoyun even did not accept some spiritual stones given by Lin Shiming. The two demon cultivators are of average strength and the magic tools they use are also average. At this moment, it gives Lin Shiming an opportunity to offer treasures. He is controlling the spirit boat. Lin Xianzi and Xian, one is a late foundation cultivator, and the other is a perfect foundation cultivator. Naturally, they have no idea about the storage bags of two average mid-foundation cultivators. Moreover, both of them were killed by Lin Shimo. The magic tools and spiritual stones in the storage bag naturally remained in Lin Haoyun's hands. Of course, if there are good treasures, Lin Haoyun will also tell him. After all matters were dealt with, Lin Shiming continued to drive the spirit boat. Lin Haoyun, Lin Xianzi and Xian each found a room to continue to recover. What made Lin Shiming sigh was that Lin Xianzi put away the top-grade spirit stones and started to recover with mid-grade spirit stones and take healing pills. The spirit boat also went smoothly towards Beiyazhao. At this time, the system prompt reappeared. Pay attention to Xiaote Mountain ahead, you will be ambushed by Chen Yunlei. Chapter 188 The Li family reappears. Under the clouds, on the spirit boat. Lin Shiming stood up suddenly and looked forward. Behind the thick clouds, a small hill like a disc could be seen faintly. There was no warning from his divine sense, just like the time at Yunjing Mountain, there was no warning. Until Chen Yunlei's spirit boat arrived in front of the formation, Lin Shiming and Lin Gang did not notice it. And this time it was still the same, and even Xian did not notice it. It can be imagined that Chen Yunlei's hiding method is very clever. But what puzzled him most was how Chen Yunlei ran ahead of them. You know, they are third-level top-grade spirit boat, plus a third-level wind escape talisman. But doubts aside, this is not the time to be entangled. Lin Shiming pinched the spirit spell in his hand, and then the spirit boat flew to the left suddenly, bypassing Xiaote Mountain directly. He didn't know what kind of formation was ahead, so he naturally didn't dare to rush straight up. And this sudden acceleration and change of lanes also made Xian and Lin Xianzi leave the room on the spirit boat and look at Lin Shiming with puzzled faces. However, when they saw Lin Shiming's extremely serious expression, they were all a little surprised, and then they also released their spiritual consciousness. Especially Xian, his spiritual consciousness almost searched the surrounding area for thousands of miles. However, he was immediately confused. Under his spiritual consciousness, he was confident that any movement would not be enough to hide from him, unless it was a Purple Mansion monk. And the Purple Mansion monks did not need to ambush them, they could just fly up and kill them. Lin Xianzi looked around and had the same expression. Seventh uncle, senior brother Z, my spirit beast felt fear on that Xiaote mountain. There might be a strange beast. Lin Shiming also explained, and then released the golden winged mantis. At this moment, the golden winged mantis was golden and obviously extraordinary, and its body was as big as a calf. After devouring the dragon lizard meat and dragon blood grass, its golden feet were sharper at this moment. When people looked at it, it was as if a knife was on its back and they could not look directly at it. Especially the 6 winged wings, which are extremely slender, far more than the double wings of the general mantis. Is this a mutant 6-winged mantis? Xian had naturally heard of the list of spiritual insects in the world of the spirit beast sect. But at this moment, the performance of the golden winged mantis is far more impressive than the 6-winged mantis on the list. And as far as he knows, Lin Shiming also has a red-haired demon monkey with strange fire. For a moment, Xian was a little envious of Lin Shiming. That's right, Shiming's mantis has a strong sense of crisis. Lin Xianzi next to him nodded instantly. Lin Shiming had mentioned the mantis's spirit several times before, and he naturally believed it. At this moment, when Lin Shiming said this, he could understand Lin Shiming's change of direction. And turned to explain to Xian. The Lin family is worthy of being a Purple Mansion family, with a lot of heritage. Xian couldn't help but sigh. Of course, no one responded to this, the key training cultivators couldn't talk, and Lin Xianzi wouldn't say it. Otherwise, If Xian knew that Lin Shiming only bought the insect eggs for 10 spirit stones, I wonder how Xian would feel. Xiaote Mountain is very large, and it is also the closest place to Jinhui City on the border of Beizhou. This detour also requires walking more than thousands of miles. What made everyone unbelievable was that as Lin Shiming took a detour, a huge ship suddenly rose from Xiaote Mountain. Everyone then realized that there was no strange beast on Xiaote Mountain, but clearly a cultivator of the Shyamo sect who was robbing the road. What made them all change their faces was that the spirit boat of more than 100 feet was clearly a war treasure ship. At this moment, they also understood why Chen Liumo and others would wait for them on Xiaote Mountain so far in advance. The 4th level war treasure ship is simply not comparable to the 3rd level top grade spirit boat. The gap is as big as heaven and earth. And the speed of the pursuit is far beyond everyone's expectations, and it caught up in the blink of an eye. Everyone was immediately disheartened. The 4th level treasure ship was not only extremely fast, but also had its own formation, which was extremely powerful. Not to mention, when a treasure ship existed, there would usually be a purple mansion cultivator. How could a foundation building cultivator have such a big face? Let's run away separately. Lin Xianzi was also in a slump at this moment. He thought he had escaped, but he didn't expect to be ambushed in Xiaote Mountain. Wait, they don't have a purple mansion cultivator, it's Chen Laomo. Lin Shiming suddenly said. At this time, Xian also explored with his spiritual sense, and indeed only found Chen Laomo Chen Yanlei, and there were only 3 late-stage foundation building cultivators. There were only 3 other mid-stage foundation building cultivators, but there were quite a few key training cultivators. It was just that with so few foundation building cultivators, it was difficult to control the treasure ship, not to mention being able to use the formation of the treasure ship to attack. It's Li Chengxin from the Li family. Lin Xianzi also spoke at this moment. But the person he saw shocked the entire Lin family. This Li Chengxin is none other than Li Chengxin, the once arrogant Li family of Yunzhao. Li Chengxin is known as the successor of the Li family. He is only 100 years old, but he is already in the late stage of foundation building. He is the purple mansion seed of the Li family. However, the Li family rebelled against the Qingxuan sect and Li Chuanhun died in the Qingyuan mountains. Without the purple mansion cultivator, the Li family would not have an easy life even if they defected to the Shyamo sect. And this finally makes sense. This war treasure ship is clearly the treasure ship purchased by the purple mansion family Li family that day. After Li Chuanhun's death, this treasure ship naturally belonged to Li Chengxin. Chen Laomo brought Li Chengxin and so few foundation building disciples. At this moment, he suspected that Chen Laomo had taken a fancy to Li Chengxin's treasure ship. The treasure ship came very quickly, not giving them time to react. Suddenly, a huge black millstone appeared in the sky, emitting infinite dim light. It covered a top-grade spirit ship. However, you take the rest of the tribesmen and step back. Leave this to the 3 of us. Lin Xianzi also shouted. Then he took out a Qinglian sword and slashed at the black millstone fiercely. The huge Qinglian sword light turned into a Qinglian, constantly resisting the millstone magic weapon, and countless sparks poured down like a waterfall. At this moment, Chen Liumo took out another magic banner. The magic banner turned into a size of 30 feet in the blink of an eye, like the gate of hell, and dozens of demons rushed out of it. The lowest cultivation of the demons was actually the late 3rd stage, even equivalent to the great perfection of the foundation building. There were also 2 3rd-level peak demons. The 2 demons were 2 young demons, but they had green faces and fangs, and they were hideous and terrifying, and murderous. A burst of dark flames blew out, like the fire of hell, terrifying, and came towards Lin Shiming and others. At this moment, Xian also took out his top-grade magic sword, and slashed out with sword lights, spreading those dark flames. However, the cold wind was like a boneless mouth, floating on the spirit sword, slowly corroding the sword light. You are the yin-yang demon child. Xian also spoke suddenly at this moment, his face full of disbelief. This old demon Chen hid his strength in the Xian city battlefield that day. Exclamation mark. Please subscribe, my friends all advised me to seize the opportunity to join the factory, embarrassing, haha. But I said that I have already grasped the opportunity to move bricks. It is really difficult to make money by writing books, but the money does not matter. I still hope that the results will be better. I have been a little stuck recently, so I will say a few more complaints. Please don't blame me. Chapter 189 Dark Tiger? Be careful not to kill the soul-devouring ants on this kid. I have a great use for them. Chen Yunlei said coldly to the people behind him, and then he strode forward with a millstone in one hand and a magic banner in the other. The terrifying millstone began to turn, and there was a rattling sound of grinding rice. The sound of grinding everything made everyone feel that their souls were shaking, as if their souls were sucked into the millstone and were madly crushed. Xian was obviously fine. A jade pendant on his neck suddenly emitted infinite green light, protecting him inside. On the contrary, Lin Yi was completely unable to concentrate his mind for a while, and his swordsmanship deviated greatly. The next moment, the sword lotus was crushed by the millstone, turned into green light and disappeared, and the green lotus sword also retreated back. Seventh uncle, I'm here. At this time, Lin Shiming saw this and understood that with this millstone, Lin Yi could not use his swordsmanship normally. On the contrary, because of his practice of the god-splitting art, he was conscious enough to repair the millstone even if it crushed his soul for a short time, not to mention the millstone crushing his soul. Lin Shiming took out 36 array swords at this moment, and continuously transformed them into 4 small purplewood Zuanshan sword arrays, pushing towards the millstone. Although the pressure of the 4 small sword arrays on Lin Shiming was great, it was not too great, and his true essence would not be exhausted in a few rounds. Moreover, after his magic sword became a top-grade magic sword, his purplewood Zuanshan sword array was also more solid, and with the wood attribute of true essence, he was able to withstand the attack of the millstone. The thickness of the millstone was the surface, and his sword array was also the surface of defense, but the true essence consumed was huge. Xian, who was next to him, fought madly with a yin-yang demon child with a sword. Under the surging magic banner, the yin-yang demon child seemed to have infinite power, and countless little demons on his left and right constantly attacked Xian. However, Xian was not only a cultivator who had reached the great perfection of the foundation building, but also held a third-grade superb magic sword in his hand, and used a third-grade top-grade secret sword technique. For a time, the fight was evenly matched. Chen Liumo was not annoyed at this moment. Seeing that Lin Shiming actually took the initiative to fight him, he just felt that Lin Shiming was overestimating himself. Lin Yi was at least a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building, and he was also a cultivator who had comprehended the sword intent. But this was also good, because he was looking at Lin Shiming's soul-devouring ants. The grinding wheel magic weapon had already pressed Lin Shiming to the point of being unable to breathe. Chen Yunlei immediately sneered, and then 3 demons in the late stage of foundation building rushed out of the magic banner and flew towards Lin Shiming. The 3 demons were all spraying poisonous magic mist, and at this moment, a yellow sky demon bag appeared in the sky, and a gust of strong wind blew away all the magic mist. The fierce strong wind went towards the 3 demons. However, at this time, Chen Yunlei pinched his fingers and condensed his magic formula again, and the grinding wheel magic weapon doubled in size again. The 4 sword arrays suddenly began to vibrate, and Lin Shiming's face instantly turned red. He had to raise his hand and release the red-haired demon monkey. The red-haired demon monkey appeared and screamed, and the Zuanling mountain in his hand was thrown out and smashed towards Chen Yunlei. When Chen Yunlei dodged, Lin Shiming took out another set of array swords, a full 5 small sword arrays to bless, blocking the pressing grinding wheel. At this moment, Lin Shiming's pressure was undoubtedly huge, and the speed of his true essence consumption was simply terrifying. The gap between the perfect foundation and the late foundation is too big, not to mention that Chen Yunlei is still a leader among the magic cultivators. Whether it is the grinding wheel magic weapon or the heavenly demon banner, they are all top-level 3rd-level magic weapons. Of course, if it weren't for Xian at this moment, Lin Shiming couldn't hold on for a moment. Chen Yunlei was obviously more concerned about Xian, and he had to pay attention to Xian. At some point, Xian took out another top-grade magic sword. The 2 swords came out together, and they were like 2 dragons coming out of the sea. For a moment, the sword art was unparalleled. Although the 2 yin-yang demon boys were powerful, under the agitation of the sword energy, Xian was 3 feet away, and no spiritual arts could get close to him. They were all annihilated in the sword energy. The yin-yang demon boy's yin-yang, which was always invincible, was also a little powerless at this moment. Chen Yunlei had to control the heavenly demon banner to increase the magic fog covering Xian, and at the same time, constantly condensed new demons. Lin Shiming was relieved at this point, but the consumption of true energy made his face look bad. He looked at Lin Xianzi, hoping that Lin Yi could create an opportunity. But Lin Yi's situation was not good either. He was now facing 3 late-stage foundation-building cultivators and 2 mid-stage foundation-building cultivators. At this moment, Lin Yi once again reversed the Rinshu Zhengjinju, and his white hair showed madness. Sword after sword, at this moment Lin Yi was attacking to the extreme. He couldn't stop the millstone, but he knew how terrifying it was. Lin Yi was only in the middle stage of foundation building. Even though his strength and talent far exceeded those of ordinary people, how could he stop it? What he had to do was to attack with all his strength. Then he would help Lin Yi and Xian. At this moment, the sword energy was everywhere and the sword lotus was shining. Every time the green lotus blossomed, countless green lotus petal swords appeared, which were extremely sharp. On the side of the demon cultivators, Li Shengxin was indeed a genius of the Li family. In the late stage of foundation building, his cultivation was also extremely terrifying. Recognizing the Rinshu Zhengjinju, he couldn't help but sneer, "You Lin family really don't know what's good for you. You are so desperate for the life-consuming skills given by Kingxun sect. I want to see how long you can hold on with your white hair." Li Chengxin's words surprised not Xian, nor the demon cultivators, but the Lin family members who were fighting against the demon cultivators behind Lin Shiming and others. They actually didn't understand why Lin Yi was only 160 years old, but he looked so old. Now, hearing this, they were all filled with righteous indignation, and felt a sense of humiliation. Their Lin family worked hard to pay tribute to the Kingxun sect, but in the end, it turned out that Lin Yi's skills were all wrong. At the same time, they thought of a shocking possibility, and all looked at Lin Shiming. Lin Shiming was also a registered disciple of the Kingxun sect, and he practiced the skills given by the Kingxun sect. Haha, don't look at it, Lin Shiming's skills also have flaws. Li Chengxin sneered again. At this moment, his skills were fully stimulated, and with a red sword in his hand, facing Lin Yi, although he was defeated, it was not much different. There were 4 people assisting him, and they were even confident that they would soon be able to kill Lin Yi, whose lifespan had run out. What good things are you magic cultivators? Xian was also angry at this moment. He raised his hand and took out another sword. This time, it was 3 top-grade magic swords. Even though his mind was at the limit, the sword power at this moment was extremely terrifying. Chen Yunli also began to look serious. He suddenly took out another black banner. This black banner was even more eerie and terrifying. On the surface of the black banner, there was a huge tiger demon. Apart from that, there was nothing else. As the black banner spread out in the wind, the next moment, it turned into a huge black banner that was 50 feet high. The magic mist rushed like the sea, and a black dark tiger demon suddenly rushed out. Everyone felt that their hearts trembled. Purple Mansion Dark Tiger. Xian's face also changed drastically. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 190 Anxiety. Xian's words also made everyone's heart sink again. The already unbearable situation became even more hopeless. Everyone is familiar with the name of the Dark Tiger. It is rumored that it is also a demon beast with the blood of the true spirit. It is not much different from the descendants of the dragon beast. Its strength is extremely powerful. The cultivators of the same level are not its opponents at all. Not to mention that the Dark Tiger turned into a demon head after death, its strength is not much inferior. This is the key to why the Heavenly Demon sect is prosperous. No, his Dark Tiger demon head is not complete, it's just a remnant soul. Xian shouted again. It's remnant soul, so what? You can't resist it anyway. Chen Yunlei sneered. Once this demon banner came out, it also meant that he was going to kill everyone. Everyone only knew that he was called Chen Laomo, but they didn't know where Chen Laomo's fierce reputation came from. The grinding god plate and the yin-yang demon child are one aspect, but in fact, his highest means is this Dark Tiger demon head. A whole 3rd level top grade demon banner can only carry 1 demon head. It is conceivable that the Dark Tiger is domineering and fierce. While thinking, the Dark Tiger raised its head, and its huge fangs began to emit a faint light, and it pounced towards Xian. At this moment, the 3 top grade magic swords, dancing the secret method of the 3 dragons gathering at the top, were like toys played by the dark tiger, and were crushed to death. The yin-yang demon child spit out yin flames again, which made Xian's face change drastically. For a while, he took out a large number of spiritual talismans from his body and kept applying defense. At this time, Lin Shiming's eyes also burst with fierce light, and his spiritual spells kept hitting. The next moment, countless purple gold vines rushed towards Lin Xian's opponent. Lin Shiming had been accumulating power for this wave of purple gold vines for a long time, and he was already preparing when he was constantly suppressed by the grinding god plate. At this moment, almost all of them were activated, turning into a sea of purple gold vines, and tied up several people. The mid-stage foundation building cultivators had no resistance at all, and among the late-stage foundation building cultivators, only Li Chengxin escaped. A golden light emerged, and at some point, 2 huge golden feet fell down and cut off the 2 tied late-stage foundation building cultivators. One of them was a cultivator of the heavenly demon sect, and his cultivation was all in the demon banner. He was killed on the spot, and the remaining one was covered by Lin Xian's Kinglian sword light, and died without a complete body. The remaining 2 cultivators in the middle stage of foundation building were even worse, and were covered by the sword light again, and fell on the spot. Only Li Chengxin escaped, and looked at Lin Shiming for a while, surprised and puzzled. Lin Shiming practiced a purple wood heart sutra, which could naturally be found in the Qingxuan sect, and the Li family also had a strong background in the Qingxuan sect. However, even though the purple wood heart sutra had few side effects, this side effect was not seen, but it seemed to be better than the purple wood heart sutra practiced by the direct disciples of the Qingxuan sect, and the amount of true energy made him unbelievable. In the middle stage of foundation building, there is definitely the true energy of the late stage of foundation building, and the spiritual consciousness is definitely the spiritual consciousness of the late stage of foundation building. With so many top-grade spirit swords, and controlling a large number of purple gold vines. At this moment, Li Chengxin could not guarantee that he could kill Lin Shiming alone. Even more, he could not survive from Lin Shiming. At this moment, Li Chengxin felt that Lin Shiming was 10,000 times more terrifying than Li Xianzi, and the golden mantis made him dazzled. Such a third-level early-stage beast was even more extraordinary than a third-level mid-stage spirit beast. And with Lin Shiming's intervention, his sword formation could no longer block it, and was destroyed by the grinding god plate, turning into a purple sword and flying into Lin Shiming's body. The next moment, a red-haired demon monkey suddenly blocked in front of Lin Shiming, raised his hands high, and supported the grinding god plate. But how could the red-haired demon monkey resist the third-level top-grade grinding god plate alone? The red-haired demon monkey's arms were crushed in an instant. The tail with a strange fire slammed the grinding god plate hard, causing the grinding god plate to shake directly, and the strange fire immediately exploded and burned. Lin Shiming took this time to dodge and avoid the suppression of the grinding god plate. At the same time, he also put the red-haired demon monkey into the spirit beast bag. This time, the red-haired demon monkey was seriously injured, and his arms were broken. He needed the precious third-level limb repairing pill. Spiritual beasts are different from spiritual insects. The limbs of spiritual beasts cannot grow again. He had no choice but to sacrifice the demon monkey this time. He had to break the situation. The grinding god plate missed, and it smashed towards Lin Shiming again, but the burning strange fire had not been extinguished by Chen Yunlei, and the speed was obviously reduced, and the control was insufficient. After Lin Shiming took a handful of spiritual medicine, he took out 4 sets of small purplewood Zuanshan sword formations again and began to resist. In another place, after being dodged by Li Chengxin, the latter never approached again, but only restrained Lin Xianzi from a distance. Lin Xianzi was also extremely helpless for a while, and turned to help Xian fight against the yin-yang demon child. But when Li Chengxin saw this, he would come back again and constantly harass Lin Xianzi. But the most critical thing was the dark tiger demon head. Xian still couldn't stop it at this moment. The 3 top-grade magic swords could only dance around him. There was a space of about 3 feet, and he defended tightly. Every time the dark tiger attacked, Xian vomited blood, and the magic sword of the best grade lost some of its aura. Chen Yunlei's face was also a little gloomy at this moment. Under his suppression, Lin Shiming actually attacked and killed others. However, just when he was about to use the grinding god plate to crush Lin Shiming, a golden sickle foot slashed out from the void, and the speed was extremely fast, and there was a burst of golden light. It was Lin Shiming who controlled the golden winged mantis to attack again, but only saw a spiritual shield appear around Chen Yunlei, blocking the fatal blow of the golden winged mantis, and then Chen Yunlei disappeared under the magic banner. Shrouded by the magic fog, Lin Shiming could not see Chen Yunlei at all. The golden winged mantis also constantly turned into golden light, flew around the magic fog, and then hid in the void under the Kinglian Taoist robe. Seventh uncle, Chen Liumo's mind is not enough. Lin Shiming also shouted at this moment. The dark tiger is powerful, but as the devil in the heavenly demon banner, it is based on Chen Yunlei. This kind of magic weapon almost surpasses the scope of magic weapons, and it is obviously extremely consuming to the mind. Otherwise, with Chen Liumo's character, he would have taken out the magic banner and trained the golden winged mantis into a demon. The cultivators of the heavenly demon sect may have few other magic weapons, but almost everyone has several heavenly demon banners, just different in material. Lin Yi also discovered at this moment that the yin-yang demon boy was not as fierce as when he fought against Xian, but instead mechanized his attack. Now that Chen Yunlei has moved the magic banner back, the yin-yang demon boy is even less fierce. What bothered him was that the heavenly demon banner enveloped Chen Yunlei, and they couldn't find Chen Yunlei's true body at all. As long as Xian was killed, they would not survive anyway. And at this moment, Xian was indeed like this. Most of the treasures in his storage bag were consumed, and his whole body was shining with spiritual light. Obviously, he used some secret method to overdraw his potential. And even so, he was in danger, and he might be scratched by the dark tiger's claws at any time to break the sword defense and die on the spot. Chapter 191 Arrival at Chidwai City. The two sky-supporting magic banners were like two magic gates, one covering Chen Yunlei, and the other suppressing Xian. The extremely thick magic fog made the visibility of several people extremely low, especially once the spiritual consciousness entered the magic fog. It would become the resentful spirits in the magic fog to interfere. Lin Shiming and Lin Yi both looked extremely ugly. At this moment, Li Chengxin did not go forward to harass, but quietly waited for the dark tiger to kill Xian with one claw, and then cooperated with a yin-yang demon child to kill Lin Shiming and Lin Yi. At this time, he held a sword and stared at Lin Shiming and Lin Yi from a distance. He guessed that Lin Shiming and Lin Yi would escape as soon as Xian died. And he must intercept Lin Shiming. Lin Shiming must die. However, with a golden light, the golden winged mantis finally rushed into the magic fog, and the Kinglian Doi instantly failed, revealing a golden insect body. Countless resentful spirits and demons pounced on the golden winged mantis, wanting to bite it to death and assimilate into demons. Haha, not bad, another top-notch demon. Chen Yunlei shouted happily. Looking at Lin Shiming, his eyes became more and more greedy. Soul-devouring ants, strange fire demon monkeys, golden six-winged mantises. All of this made him feel that this trip was extremely worthwhile. Under the magic fog, Chen Yunlei looked at Li Chengxin greedily again, but that look was fleeting. While continuing to stare at Xian, he also began to attack the golden winged mantis. After Lin Shiming saw that the grinding god plate on his body was finally relieved, he turned his hand again and took out a purple gold gourd. The gourd swelled in the air against the wind, and in the blink of an eye it turned into a giant gourd of 3 or 4 feet in size. The spiritual power of the top-grade magic weapon suddenly unfolded, and countless fireballs shot towards Chen Yunlei's magic fog. Top-grade magic weapon? Are you out of tricks? Chen Yunlei's disdainful voice sounded, and the top-grade magic weapon gourd was not taken seriously by him at all. That little flame could not burn through his black fog at all. As expected, at the glance of Chen Laomo, the flames went out, and the thick magic fog was still rising. However, the next moment, his pupils shrank slightly, and he was surprised to see that Lin Shiming in front of him actually sat on the gourd, just behind the flame. The speed was jaw-dropping. As for the grinding god plate, it had already fallen at this moment, but at this moment, the speed of retraction was far less than that of Lin Shiming. Moreover, the spiritual power displayed by the gourd at this moment was actually a top-grade magic weapon. Chen Yunlei hurriedly controlled the 3 foundation-building demons to rush towards Lin Shiming. However, at this time, Lin Shiming lowered his head, and a full 36 purple wood array swords flew out in an instant, instantly chopping the 3 foundation-building demons into pieces and turning them into fragments again. But the next moment, a piece of golden sand with starlight appeared at the mouth of the gourd, flashing like an endless galaxy. In the fire and in the wind, It kept rushing towards the magic fog. Wind, fire, and sand. Chen Lao Mo finally changed color. The wind, fire and sand fell into the magic fog in the blink of an eye, almost covering the entire area. Chen Lao Mo did not practice physical skills. Being caught by these wind, fire and sand would definitely kill him. Moreover, Xian at this time was like taking a strong medicine. He launched a violent counterattack against the Dark Tiger. Although he was a little weak, he dragged most of Chen Yunlei's mind. Not to mention Lin Xianzi, who almost launched a suicidal attack on the yin-yang demon child. Chen Yunlei's face became more and more ugly. He took out a talisman again and slapped it down with extreme pain. It turned into a huge spiritual formation to protect it. The wind, fire and sand hit the spiritual formation with flames, making a loud noise. However, the formation was extremely strong and did not break. However, just as Chen Yunlei breathed a sigh of relief, the spiritual formation was broken into a basin-sized mouth in the blink of an eye, revealing a group of soul-eating ants with fangs. Wind, fire, and sand filled in. Chen Yunlei faced the same situation as Lin Shiming did at the beginning, except that he did not have the spirit-devouring ants to weaken and devour the wind, fire, and sand. He was soon submerged by the star sand. The two magic banners without the input of true essence were all cut off. The magic mist surged back, and all the demons disappeared. Lin Shiming felt the dryness of the true essence in his body and the dizziness he had to endure. He took out a top-grade spirit stone and began to restore his true essence. Xian was the worst at this moment. Half of his body was cut off by the Dark Tiger. After taking a pill, he started to meditate on the spot. Even the dragon lizard meat and blood essence given by Lin Shiming, he took out a small part and feasted on it like a wild beast on the spot. On the contrary, although Lin Xianzi was also fatally exhausted, he stared at Li Chengxin. At the same time, the golden winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey attacked the key training cultivators of the Lin family, killing the key training demon cultivators brought by Chen Yunlei and the remaining mid-stage foundation building demon cultivators. Seeing this, Li Chengxin had no intention of staying to attack. He took out the war treasure ship and fled far away. Although Lin Shiming longed for this war treasure ship, at this moment, he could only watch Li Chengxin escape. Regardless of whether they caught up or not, they could not kill Li Chengxin in their state. Shiming, we have to go. This time I will drive the spirit boat. Lin Xianzi said. Xian and Lin Shiming did not say much. They both got on the top-grade spirit boat. The group hurried to Jingwei City and Beihao again. This time, Lin Xianzi still chose to detour. Since Xiaote Mountain had set up an ambush for the first time, it was very likely that there would be a second ambush, and it was very likely that Li Chengxin would use the war treasure ship to bring new pursuers. Fortunately, 5 days later, the Lin family and their group crossed most of the territory of Xianhezhou and finally arrived in Beihao. What came into view was a huge and vicissitudes of life city, located at the pass of the mountain range. Like a majestic pass, it was Jingwei City. The walls of Jingwei City are extremely tall, but what is even more surprising is that in the center of the city, there is an extremely tall white fir tree, which is taller than the mountains and reaches the clouds. This white fir tree gave birth to a wood demon. It is said that the realm of the wood demon is also the peak of the 4th level purple mansion, which is many times stronger than his tea tree demon. The white fir tree has a total of 9 huge life spirit leaves, and 1 life spirit leaf is produced every 100 years. Each life spirit leaf is very huge. From a distance, it is not much smaller than the palace. It is said that this white fir spirit leaf is enough to refine a 5th level magic weapon. The white fir tree does not hide its body, and of course it is not afraid of anyone's fear, because the owner of the white fir tree is Baishan's Henren, one of the 3 great golden elixirs of the spirit beast sect. There are even rumors that Baishan's Henren cultivated a golden elixir road because the white fir tree once produced a 1,000-year-old white fir fruit. While Lin Shiming was observing, Xian, who was standing next to him, came out at some point. Although his face had turned red, he was still obviously very weak. However, he looked at Jidwei Cheng with a smile, and he was obviously much more relieved. Shiming, you are not yet 60 years old. Xian suddenly asked. Chapter 192 9 Leaves Enlightenment. Jingwei City is extremely prosperous. Compared with the disciples of Kingxun sect, the disciples of Lingxiao sect consume more spiritual objects from heaven and earth. Although Jingwei City is the second largest city of Lingxiao sect, The need for spiritual objects makes Jingwei City's business extremely prosperous, even more so than Kingsuan City of Kingsuan sect in some aspects. Lin Shiming walked on the street and could see all kinds of monks riding spiritual beasts. Those riding flying swords were basically monks from Kingsuan sect and Lingfu sect who came because of the war. After a round of questioning at the gate of the city, the Lin family finally entered Jingwei City and settled in the restaurant. And it was a coincidence that they lived in the branch building of Lin Yi building. Lin Shiming was in a room at the moment, thinking about what Zian had said just now. At first, he was a little puzzled when Zian talked about his age, but he didn't expect that Jingwei City's Jingwei had a lot of things to say. The 9 leaves of the white fir spiritual tree actually formed a natural enlightenment platform. There is an opportunity to attain enlightenment every 10 years. Because the 3 sects of Zhao State are in collusion and have always advanced and retreated together, the 9 places for enlightenment in Jingwei City are 3 from the Spirit Beast sect, 2 from each of the other 2 sects, and the remaining 2 places are determined by the competition. There is only one requirement for enlightenment, that is, a foundation-building cultivator under the age of 60. Lin Shiming naturally meets both requirements, and he can understand that the talents of people over the age of 60 are already determined, and key refining cultivators cannot even practice secret methods, so naturally they cannot talk about enlightenment. However, he is a little hesitant to participate. The 2 fixed places of Kingsuan sect are naturally impossible for him. If he competes, he can only compete for the extra 2 places. It is conceivable how difficult it is to grab one of the 2 places from the young cultivators of the 3 sects, and even if he grabs it, everyone will know his trump card by then, which is not what Lin Shiming wants. Lin Shiming shook his head, thought for a while but had no clue, so he stopped thinking about it. Now that there is a war, maybe Jedi enlightenment has been cancelled. The demon sect and the corpse training sect are fighting so hard that they are very likely not satisfied with just 1 Cheyenne continent and 2 continents of the spirit talisman sect. After settling down for a while, Lin Shiming went to see Lin Yi again. After 5 days of recuperation, Lin Yi finally thought about it, and it was a blessing in disguise. His cultivation has taken a step forward. He only needs to polish his spiritual power to prepare for a breakthrough in the foundation building stage. And because he swallowed the flesh and blood of the dragon lizard, his blood and ki are very strong. For such a body refining cultivator, the probability of success will also increase greatly when he breaks through. After Lin Yi expressed his gratitude for a few words, Lin Shiming also said goodbye, and then looked at Lin Xianzi again, but found that the latter was still in seclusion, so Lin Shiming chose to return to the room. He took out a spirit beast bag. In the spirit beast bag, it was also the treasure that Chen Yunlei got from killing the old demon Chen this time. Among the treasures, Zian accepted the heavenly demon banner with a dark tiger. Although he could not use it, the precious thing was not the demon banner itself, but the dark tiger's spirit. When Zian broke through the purple mansion and practiced a magic weapon, he would practice the dark tiger's spirit into a weapon spirit. At that time, the power of the magic weapon would increase by 3 points out of thin air. Even if there was no purple mansion, Zian could sell the dark tiger's spirit, which would still be an extremely amazing fortune. Because of the dark tiger's spirit, the remaining grinding god plate and the yin-yang demon child's spirit heavenly demon banner were given to Lin Shiming and Lin Xianzi. Lin Shiming got the grinding god plate at Lin Xianzi's strong request. At this moment, the grinding god plate was still the size of a normal stone mill. It was made of black unknown black iron. It felt very textured and the surface was engraved with spiritual patterns. Lin Shiming also learned to practice weapons. Although he could only refine second-level low-grade magic weapons, which were almost useless, from the perspective of a weapon trainer, he could understand how terrifying this grinding god plate was. In fact, if the god grinding plate had not been less potential than the dark tiger spirit, this god grinding plate would have been the first harvest. In addition to Chen Yunlei's 3 magic weapons, Lin Shiming also found many other magic weapons, which were all taken by Chen Yunlei from killing the Zhao Kingdom monks. The 3 of them also divided them one by one, but because Zian had swallowed some of the dragon lizard's flesh and blood, he also took the initiative to propose to divide it only 30%. Of course, ordinary high-grade magic weapons were not in Lin Shiming's eyes at this moment. However, a lot of spirit stones and Qingming iron were divided again. Chen Lao Mo robbed the Qingming iron mine in Xianhao and a spirit stone mine in Yunjing Mountain. There were a full 100 high-grade spirit stones in the storage bag. The 3 people each got 30, and the remaining 10 were exchanged by Xian with the remaining small spirit stones. But Lin Shiming alone got 1 million spirit stones. At this moment, he had a full 3 million spirit stones on his waist. After excluding the consumed high-grade spirit stones, there were still 42. At this moment, with his wealth, it is enough to buy a war treasure ship. After clearing the spiritual stones, Lin Shiming took out another jade slip. The jade slip recorded a low-grade wood-type technique, the 3 green return to origin technique. So far, the Lin family has 5 low-grade Zhuan level techniques, which have gathered the 4 elements of fire, thunder, wood, and water, plus a mountain ape body refining technique of earth. Xian naturally does not need this jade slip technique, which was taken by Lin Shiming. This technique is obviously a bottom-line technique of a foundation-building family, and was killed and taken away by Chen Laomo. As for the remaining jade slips, they are all about how to refine the heavenly demon banner and the magic technique of the demon head, but these are almost useless to the Lin family. The Lin family cannot rest in magic, and the refined heavenly demon banner is of no use at all. For example, the heavenly demon banner of the yin-yang demon child that was taken away can only be sold at the auction in the end. In addition to the jade slips, Lin Shiming also took out 2 sheepskin maps. There were 3 sheepskin maps in Chen Laomo's storage bag. Lin Xiansi, Lin Shiming, and Xian each had 1. As for the extra one, it was taken by Lin Shiming after he killed the monks of the corpse training sect. These sheepskin maps were obviously treasure maps, but the roots recorded on them puzzled Lin Shiming. He also looked through the entire Zhao, Chu, and Yan maps, but did not find any place similar to the map. Even Xian was not sure. Lin Shiming's research was fruitless, and the system prompt did not appear. He knew that he might not be able to find this place in a short time, so he had to put the map away again. Then, after releasing the soul isolating formation, Lin Shiming entered the cave world. At this moment in the cave world, the red-haired demon monkey curled up in a corner, with both arms missing. It curled up into a ball, surprisingly quiet, and in an unusually low mood. Lin Shiming couldn't help but sigh when he saw this. He had already fed half of the dragon lizard meat to the red-haired demon monkey, and took out 3 dragon blood grasses for the red-haired demon monkey to eat. The spiritual power in his body made its whole body red, and the strange fire on its tail became bigger and bigger, but no arms grew. As if seeing Lin Shiming coming, the demon monkey looked up at Lin Shiming, then quietly lowered his head, his eyes filled with melancholy. Chapter 193 Trade Fair. For the red-haired demon monkey, its arms, although not as powerful as its tail with strange fire, are also its fighting power. Lin Shiming can understand its strong desire to win, and its current state. Don't worry, I will find you a 3rd-level limb renewing pill. Lin Shiming gently rubbed the red head of the red-haired demon monkey, and then he didn't care whether the red-haired demon monkey understood or not. Without staying for too long, Lin Shiming left the cave world and headed towards the commercial area of Jinhui City. The commercial area of Jinhui City is very neat, and the houses and streets are much larger than those of ordinary cities. At this moment, because Jinhui City has to face the Xianmo sect and the Lianxi sect, there are more monks buying magic tools and talismans on the streets, and even the stalls in the distance are crowded with monks. Most of them are also key training monks, and there are also many foundation building monks. What surprised Lin Shiming was that there were also many Purple Mansion monks strolling in the shops. Obviously, the fall of Xian has made those Purple Mansion cultivators feel great pressure. At the same time, many Purple Mansion cultivators were withdrawn from Xian City. Lin Shiming wanted to buy the 3rd-level limb renewing pill, but he did not go to the stall area, but went directly to the shop area. Finally, he stopped in front of a 4-story shop called Baozhangxuan. The shop has 4 floors, which means that the shop can receive Jinden's Henren, which is also a symbol of strength and background. Of course, Lin Shiming has also seen that the 4th floor is deliberately built to entertain Henren, but in fact, the financial resources may not be enough for the Purple Mansion Sanren. But now in Jinhui City, there are endless cultivators coming in and out, so Lin Shiming naturally does not have to worry about this situation. The layout of Baozhangxuan is somewhat similar to the Duobiao building of Kingxuan sect. The 1st floor also divides the pills, instruments, spiritual materials, and talismans into 4 counters. The cultivators at the counters are also beautiful and have sweet voices. Lin Shiming did not stop and went straight to the 2nd floor of Baozhangxuan. The layout of the 2nd floor is more luxurious and grand, with more Nanmu decorations and some copper pennyworth bonsai as decoration. Senior, this is the jade slip introducing the treasures on the second floor. If you want to buy it, you can go to the trading house to check the treasures. As soon as Lin Shiming went upstairs, a sweet female cultivator came up and handed Lin Shiming a jade slip. After seeing many foundation building cultivators checking the jade slip, Lin Shiming also accepted the jade slip. There are a lot of contents recorded in the jade slip, including 10 kinds of light spirit beast cubs, including the eggs of the 3rd level peak wind-breaking eagle beast, but the price is also very scary, close to 1 million spirit stones. In order to find the limb renewing pill this time, Lin Shiming did not continue to check the spirit beasts, but looked for pills. He found the 3rd level limb renewing pill very smoothly, which was sold for 200,000 spirit stones per bottle. The price was fair and did not increase due to the invasion of the heavenly demon sect. After finding the limb renewing pill, he also had the leisure to continue to check other treasures. In addition to the limb renewing pill, Lin Shiming also took a fancy to the 3rd grade superior red flame fire stick. This fire stick was also bought for the red-haired demon monkey. The red-haired demon monkey now had a strange fire in his body, which could burn everything. He only had a Zuanling mountain magic weapon, which could only be thrown far away. The price of this 3rd grade superior red flame fire stick was not too outrageous, 400,000 inferior spirit stones. Of course, what surprised him most was that there were seeds of 3rd grade vines in the shop, but the seeds were only the 3rd grade inferior green snake vines. Except for being strong, they were far inferior to its purple gold vine. However, at this moment, he didn't have many seeds of purple gold vines, so he could buy some to make a transition. After about an incense stick of time, Lin Shiming finally made his choice. Then, under the guidance of the female cultivator, he found an empty room and walked in. The consultant in the room was a slightly shrewd middle-aged cultivator, whose cultivation was in the middle stage of foundation building, the same as Lin Shiming. As soon as Lin Shiming entered, he sat down under the hospitality of the middle-aged cultivator. Fellow Taoist, do you have any treasures you like? Level 3 limb renewal pill, level 3 top grade red flame fire stick, plus 2 bottles of level 3 intermediate grade healing pill, cold jade pill, and 100 green snake vine seeds. Lin Shiming listed the treasures he needed to buy one by one. The latter quickly took out level 3 intermediate grade healing pill and limb renewal pill from his storage bag, but the red flame fire stick and green snake vine seeds were brought out by a key training servant in the room. After Lin Shiming checked the red flame fire stick, limb renewal pill, etc., he also handed a storage bag to the middle-aged cultivator. There were 800,000 spirit stones in it. I wonder if this fellow Taoist knows where to buy level 3 top-grade spirit vine. Lin Shiming asked after putting away the treasures. For his purple wood heart sutra, spirit vine is the greatest combat power, and purple gold vine is obviously a little insufficient when he faces late-stage foundation building cultivators and great perfection foundation building cultivators. Seeing that this shop has level 3 low-grade green snake vine seeds, he was a little curious. A 3rd grade, top-quality spiritual vine. The middle-aged cultivator was obviously a little surprised when he heard Lin Shiming say this. You know, Lin Shiming is only a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building. But when he thought of Lin Shiming's financial resources, his face soon returned to normal. This kind of rare spiritual vine is extremely rare. At present, Zhanbaoksun does not have it. If you want it, you might as well go to the trade fair held by our Zhanbaoksun to try. The middle-aged cultivator said, and took out a token engraved with the word treasure. After seeing Lin Shiming's doubts, the middle-aged cultivator spoke again. Dao, don't worry, this trade fair is held by the Purple Mansion Elder behind the Bao's Hangsuan. As long as you can take out precious treasures, you may get not only a 3rd grade vine, but also a 4th grade vine. Lin Shiming's interest increased greatly when he heard this. It is reasonable for a Purple Mansion cultivator to hold a trade fair when the demon sect is in charge. Lin Shiming put away the token, thanked him, and left Zhanbaoksun. After returning to his residence, Lin Shiming immediately gave the limb renewing pill to the red-haired demon monkey. After taking the limb renewing pill, blood began to slowly flow out of the red-haired demon monkey's broken arm, and a red demon monkey arm gradually grew out. However, the newly grown arm was obviously a little fragile and needed a lot of tempering. The red-haired demon monkey looked at the 2 new arms with shining eyes, and kept howling, and then began to wave them constantly, and even wanted to pick up Zuanling Mountain. but was quickly stopped by Lin Shiming. Then he took out a blood crocodile flower and poured it full of liquid medicine, according to the method of the mountain ape body training technique. The red-haired demon monkey's eyes shone brightly, and he jumped in instantly, and then he didn't forget to excitedly howl at Lin Shiming. Seeing this, Lin Shiming was relieved. But I'm afraid that the red-haired demon monkey can't give him any help for a while. After looking at the demon monkey, Lin Shiming walked to the center of the cave world. 2 spiritual fields have been cultivated here, and a large amount of spiritual soil has been placed. However, the spiritual energy of the spiritual veins is insufficient, and it is only at the level of the lower 2nd grade. Even the purple gold vine cannot be cultivated. Only some ordinary 2nd grade spiritual medicines are planted for testing. Lin Shiming withdrew from the cave world. Since he had to attend the trade fair in 3 days, he could not practice the god-splitting art, so he quietly practiced a purple wood heart sutra in the room. Chapter 194, Poisonous Ivy and Treasure Map. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Lin Shiming followed the agreement and came to hall where the trade fair was held with the spirit isolating veil. The trade fair was a barter event. It was similar to the foundation building meeting held by Duabeao Tower in Kingston City when Lin Shiming attended. The entire hall was very large. As expected, most of the participating cultivators wore spirit isolating veils. When Lin Shiming arrived, there were already 30 people sitting in the hall. Most of the seats they chose were very far back. After taking a look around, Lin Shiming also chose a seat at the back and sat down quietly. Then he thought about the treasures that could be exchanged. Some cultivators came in one after another at the door. After half an hour, the entire hall was almost full. As the time came, the seats at the front of the hall were finally occupied. They were several purple mansion cultivators. However, Lin Shiming did not see any purple mansion cultivators from the sects. They were all powerful ancestors of the purple mansion family. Okay, everyone's term has expired. I'm Dao Guang, the elder behind the treasure pavilion. There are 2 reasons why I am holding this trade fair. First, the demon sect is in charge, and everyone needs to exchange what they need to improve their strength to prevent invasion. Second, the Enlightenment Conference is coming, and there must be some geniuses here. If they exchange for some powerful treasures for fighting, they can get a place in the Enlightenment Conference, and maybe they can attain enlightenment and become a purple mansion, adding more strength to the state of Zhao. Okay, I won't waste any more words. This trade fair is in the form of barter. Of course, if you can't exchange for the treasures you want, you can also sell them at a price. Everything is based on the principle of voluntariness. As time passed, a purple mansion monk in brocade robes stepped to the front. I will throw out some ideas for the trade fair. A 4th-tier magic weapon, the Jade Red Sword, in exchange for a defensive magic weapon, or a 4th-tier precious metal material that can be used to refine a defensive magic weapon. A 4th-tier demon beast, the purple cloud leopard cub, in exchange for a 4th-tier defensive magic weapon or 4th-tier defensive magic weapon materials. A 3rd-tier top-grade magic weapon, the bloodthirsty poison needle, a sneak attack weapon that can easily penetrate the spiritual shield of a cultivator who has reached the great perfection of foundation establishment, and a 4th-tier defensive material. A 3rd-tier top-grade barrier-breaking pill, which can increase the chance of a cultivator breaking through the bottleneck of the late stage of foundation establishment by 30%, in exchange for 4th-tier defensive materials. Dao Guang Sanren brought 4 treasures in a row, and everyone in the hall held their breath. Whether it was a magic weapon or a 3rd-tier top-grade magic weapon, they all moved everyone. Even Lin Shiming was moved, but he simply couldn't take out a 4th-tier defensive magic weapon, let alone the spiritual materials for a 4th-tier defensive magic weapon. The 4th-level purple cloud leopard was soon bought by a purple mansion family of Kingston sect. What surprised him was that the 3rd-level top-grade bloodthirsty poison needle and the 3rd-level upper-grade barrier-breaking pill were all exchanged by a mid-stage foundation-building cultivator. When the exchange was completed, many cultivators stared at the mid-stage foundation-building cultivator. It was as if they wanted to see the cultivator's face through the veil. But it was obviously impossible, unless the cultivators present could use their spiritual sense to investigate the cultivator without fear of Dao Guang Sanren. In that case, not to mention whether it could be done, even if it was done, it would offend Dao Guang Sanren. Dao Guang Sanren exchanged 3 items in a row, and his face was full of joy. He walked away and then exchanged for a new purple mansion cultivator. Several Purple Mansion cultivators were obviously exchanging for defensive magic weapons or 4th-level defensive talismans. Lin Shiming also saw many unheard-of treasures and gained a lot of knowledge. After the Purple Mansion cultivators exchanged, it was the foundation-building cultivators. The first foundation-building cultivator to come on stage was a late-stage foundation-building cultivator. He took out a jade slip and a bag of seeds. Then he said indifferently, "Jia has here the secret method of improving the wood monster, plus the 3rd-grade top-grade poisonous dragon vine seeds. I am just waiting to exchange them for the 3rd-grade top-grade escape talisman, or the equivalent of 1,000-year spiritual milk." Lin Shiming had never expected that the treasure he wanted would appear as soon as the foundation-building cultivator came on stage. Whether it was the secret method of improving the wood monster or the 3rd-grade top-grade poisonous dragon vine seeds, they were all what he needed at the moment. The former could improve the wood monster and allow his Minxin tea tree to break through the 3rd level, while the latter could significantly improve his fighting skills. Regardless of whether it participated in the 9-leaf Enlightenment Conference or not, they were all good treasures to exchange. Fellow Taoist Jia, I have Dragon Blood Grass, Demon Luring Grass, 3rd-grade middle-grade Xiangang Sword Formation, and 3rd-grade top-grade magic weapon Demon Binding Ring. I wonder if you are interested in them. Lin Shiming also decisively sent a message to the cultivator surnamed Jia. Then he stepped forward, took out the storage bag, and asked the other party to check it with his divine sense. What disappointed Lin Shiming was that the monk surnamed Jia shook his head and did not agree to exchange. Lin Shiming had no choice but to give up and wait for other monks to see if he could exchange. Until the end, the monk surnamed Jia did not succeed in the exchange. And Lin Shiming's face was not very good. This time, he not only saw the secret method of the wood monster's improvement, but also saw the poisonous dragon vine seeds, but he could not exchange them. The trade fair was still going on, and Lin Shiming did not find the 3rd-level spiritual vine seeds and the secret method of the wood monster's improvement. However, at this time, a yellow-robed monk suddenly took out 3 treasures. One of them was very familiar to Lin Shiming, a treasure map. He had 2 of these treasure maps in his storage bag, a treasure map of the ancient medicine garden in the Kingsun's secret realm, and a 3rd-level top-grade wind escape talisman. The 2 can only be exchanged for bodybuilding spiritual materials or bodybuilding spiritual pills. Lin Shiming also heard the origin of the treasure map for the first time, but he was a little skeptical. There were so many treasure maps, and they could still be taken out. Maybe it was a trap. However, what he didn't expect was that the treasure map was exchanged by a Purple Mansion cultivator, which made many cultivators start to talk about it with great relish. What he didn't expect was that the cultivator surnamed Jia actually contacted him. "Fellow Taoist Lin, I wonder if you can still exchange your dragon blood grass." Fellow Taoist Jia is really calculating. Fellow Taoist Lin is naturally Lin Shiming's pseudonym, but it is obvious that this fellow Taoist Jia couldn't exchange for the 3rd-level top-grade wind escape talisman, so he wanted to exchange his dragon blood grass and then exchange it for the wind escape talisman. How could he give the other party a good face? At the critical moment of the battle, "Please forgive me, fellow Taoist Lin." The cultivator surnamed Jia continued to transmit the voice, and there was some helplessness in the voice transmission. "It can be exchanged, but in addition to exchanging my 5 dragon blood grass for your poisonous dragon vine seeds, Lin will use the demon binding ring to exchange for your wood demon promotion secret method." Lin Shiming spoke again, and the cultivator surnamed Jia hesitated for a while, and finally agreed. Lin Shiming finally got the poisonous dragon vine seeds and the secret method to improve the wood monster. However, the secret method was called a secret method. In fact, it was just a 3rd-level spiritual liquid, similar to the recipe of the elixir, which could only improve the wood monster to the 3rd level. It was far inferior to his bloodline return secret method. But at the moment, the improvement of the wood monster was indeed needed. When Lin Shiming came on stage, he also took out the Xiangang Sword Formation, but no one wanted to exchange it, so Lin Shiming simply came down. He had already exchanged what he wanted. The transaction ended quickly, and as soon as Lin Shiming left the trading hall, he received a voice transmission from Lin Xianzi. It turned out that Zixuan Sanren had also arrived in Jiwai City. Chapter 195, Gift of Sword. Jiwai City is divided into 4 cities. East City and North City are the royal lands of the Spirit Beast sect, while South City and West City are commercial lands. East City and North City are located at the foot of Jiwai Mountain. The legendary white for sacred tree is also on Jai Mountain. East City is the cave residence of the disciples of the Spirit Beast sect, while XC District is the cave residence of the Spirit Beast sect to entertain guests and the place where cave residences are temporarily rented. Lin Shiming walked in the North City District and saw Jai Mountain and rows of cave residences. He was also amazed. The spiritual vein on Jai Mountain is a 5th level spiritual vein. The headquarters of the Spirit Beast sect is not here, and the cultivators cannot reach the saturation of the spiritual vein at all. The cave residences used for casual cultivators and cultivators from other sects can also bring a lot of income to the sect. Even some casual cultivators who encounter a bottleneck in their realm can rent a cave residence to break through. As an ally of the Spirit Beast sect, Zixuan Sanren naturally has a royal cave residence in the North City. After Lin Shiming was silent for a while, he saw a monk in green robes flying down on a sword. "Junior brother Lin, Master invites you." "Thank you for telling me." Lin Shiming thanked him repeatedly, and then walked into Zixuan Sanren's cave, and met Zixuan Sanren in a bright and spacious stone room. At this time, Zixuan Sanren was still wearing a purple robe, and was very extraordinary. On the table next to him, a teapot was brewing spiritual tea, and wisps of mist exuded spiritual energy and rose up. "Shiming greets Master." Lin Shiming stepped forward and saluted repeatedly. "Not bad, you have reached the middle stage of foundation building so quickly." Zixuan Sanren was also surprised to see that Lin Shiming had really broken through the middle stage of foundation building, as Xian said. "I heard that you met Chen Yunlei from the Heavenly Demon sect and killed him. It was just luck, thanks to senior brother Z." Lin Shiming replied modestly. He dared not take credit in front of Zixuan Sanren, not to mention that it was Xian who had taken the overdrawn elixir to hold the Dark Tiger Heavenly Demon banner, otherwise none of them could escape. Xian also reported to me, "You don't have to be overly modest, young people should have some sharpness." Zixuan Sanren drank a cup of tea, and then looked at Lin Shiming straight. "Thank you for your teachings, Master, Shiming will remember it." Lin Shiming saw Zixuan Sanren staring at him, a little confused, so he had to bow his head and admit his mistake. "You have practiced the grass sword art, right? How is your progress?" After polite concern, Zixuan Sanren asked again. Zixuan Sanren's tone was obviously a little hurried when he said this. At this moment, Lin Shiming even felt that the sword energy on his body and even the grass seeds of the grass sword art had been discovered by Zixuan Sanren. What made him think more was that Zixuan Sanren did not call Lin Xianzi. You know, Zixuan Sanren used to value Lin Xianzi more. I'm afraid that at this time, Zixuan Sanren has already known that Lin Xianzi's life is not much. Replying to Master, "I should have mastered the sword style of the Kozi sword art, but I still don't understand the true meaning of the sword art." Lin Shiming replied honestly, and when he heard Lin Xianzi say this, Zixuan Sanren couldn't help but lower his head. Then, Zixuan Sanren thought for a moment and spoke again, "Oh, there's nothing you don't understand, Master will solve your doubts." Seeing this, Lin Shiming also said all the doubts about practicing the Kozi sword art. Of course, many of these doubts have been corrected by the system, and there are also a few correct places that he asked about. Zixuan Sanren also answered one by one, and Lin Shiming listened very carefully, but Zixuan Sanren was obviously not as good as the system's prompts, and many of his sword moves still had slight flaws. However, Lin Shiming performed very well and did not show it. Instead, after asking the question, Zixuan Sanren frowned, obviously worried about Lin Shiming's understanding. "Is there a problem with the third sword technique?" Zixuan Sanren then questioned Lin Shiming about the sword technique. What shocked him was that Zixuan Sanren asked some correct questions and some wrong questions this time. And he asked 5 questions in a row. Obviously at this moment, Zixuan Sanren suspected that he was deliberately concealing something, but fortunately, every time Lin Shiming made a mistake, the system prompted him to correct it. This time, his answer was based on his own understanding before the system prompted him. Zixuan Sanren frowned, pondered for a while, and then said, "Go find your senior brother and ask him to give you the information about your competitor this time. The 9-leaf enlightenment platform is a good opportunity for you. You are my registered disciple, so you also have a chance." After Zixuan Sanren finished speaking, he picked up the teacup, gently brushed the lid of the cup, and blew hot air. In addition, this top-grade magic sword, the Purple Eye Sword, has the meaning of purple energy coming from the east. It is no longer useful to me, so I will give it to you. Lin Shiming was also a little stunned at this moment. He had never expected that Zixuan Sanren would ask him to participate in the 9-leaf enlightenment platform competition to compete for the only 2 places, and also gave him a top-grade magic sword. Lin Shiming took the top-grade magic sword and saw that it was a purple sword with purple energy on it. Needless to say, it was sharp. Even among the top-grade magic weapons, it was a rare boutique, much more powerful than the Liant sword he seized from Lu Changming. And at this time in the Spirit Beast sect, he did not dare to use the purple gold gourd and Liant sword. Otherwise, when the Lu family came to the door, Lin Shiming would inevitably be held accountable. "Thank you, Master. Shiming will go to find senior brother Z now." Lin Shiming put away the purple Li sword and then bowed and left. Since Zixuan Sanren asked to participate in the 9-leaf competition, it was useless for Lin Shiming not to participate. To participate, Lin Shiming would naturally aim for one of the 2 places for enlightenment. Of course, he was curious whether the system prompt would give him unexpected gains. The scene of the sword enlightenment of the grass character sword formula was still vivid in his mind. As a disciple of the sect, Xian also had a temporary cave in the northern city, but the location of the cave was at the foot of the mountain, and the spiritual energy was obviously different. Lin Shiming used the sound transmission talisman, and the latter had just finished practicing. Seeing Lin Shiming outside the cave, he repeatedly invited Lin Shiming to enter the cave. Compared with Zixuan Sanren's cave, Xian's cave was simpler. Of course, this was not because Xian was more economical, but because the layout of the Spirit Beast sect was like this. "Shiming, sit down quickly." After experiencing the battle of life and death, Xian was more familiar with Lin Shiming. Xian also hurriedly took out a teapot and poured a cup for Lin Shiming. The spiritual tea was light and fragrant, gathering but not dispersing. Just smelling the tea mist of the spiritual tea had the effect of refreshing the mind. It was the Mingxin tea that Lin Shiming gave Xian last time. "Shiming, this is the information that Master asked me to find for you. You have many strong competitors this time." Xian took out a jade slip, but frowned after he spoke. In the last 10 years, there were 3 people who succeeded in enlightenment. They directly comprehended the prototype of minor supernatural powers. After breaking through the Purple Mansion, they condensed minor supernatural powers, far surpassing the Purple Mansion cultivators. Brother also found out about it this time. Chapter 196, Magical Uses of Geovine. Xian's words also reminded Lin Shiming of the trade fair. No wonder the trade fair was so popular and there were so many people. It seems that the competition at this 9-leaf enlightenment conference is much better than before. Especially in the face of a great disaster, improving one's strength can improve one's combat effectiveness. Although there is a 60-year-old limit, Lin Shiming does not think that he can run rampant in the middle stage of foundation building. But from another perspective, it also means that the enlightenment platform is indeed extraordinary. It is probably the tree of enlightenment of Master Bai Shan. Shiming, the 3 people you should pay most attention to are Chen Yuan from the Spirit Beast sect, Su Hao from the Spirit Talisman sect, and Yi Changgyun from the Purple Mansion family of King Zhao. These 3 are cultivators who are capable of competing for the top 2 places but have not been recommended. Xian introduced while handing Lin Shiming the jade slip. Among these 3, Chen Yuan is recognized as the strongest. He is 59 years old and has reached the late stage of foundation building. Chen Yuan is a double spiritual root cultivator who specializes in fire-related skills and is extremely powerful in controlling beasts. If he had not had a weak backing in the Spirit Beast sect, he would have been able to obtain an internal quota. Su Hao is also extraordinary. Although he has 3 spiritual roots, he has a strong talent for practicing talismans. Now he is 52 years old. Not only is he in the late stage of foundation building, he is also a 3rd-level top-grade talisman master. You have to be careful of his various spiritual talismans. Xian introduced them in detail, and Lin Shiming nodded and wrote them down one by one. With this little information, he would be more confident. When cultivators fight, sometimes their strengths are almost the same, and the victory or defeat depends on some details. Especially for a cultivator like Lin Shiming who has been fighting for a long time. Moreover, Lin Shiming was quite confident this time. He first got the poisonous dragon vine seeds, and then got the top-grade magic sword Zile sword. In addition to his own purplewood Zuanshan sword formation, he was also very confident. After listening to Xian's introduction, the teapot was empty before he knew it. Lin Shiming also took out a jade box filled with minks and tea leaves from the storage bag, placed it on the table, and brewed another pot. Under the stimulation of the spell, the teapot soon emitted bursts of fragrant spiritual mist again. By the way, Shiming, the dragon lizard meat and blood essence have been entrusted to my friend. He is also in Jinhui City this time. In less than 2 months, he will be able to refine the dragon blood pill. Xian suddenly thought of the dragon lizard meat and said with a smile. 2 months is not a long time for a cultivator. Lin Shiming was overjoyed after hearing this. With the dragon blood pill, not only will Lin Haoxiao have the opportunity to break through the foundation, but Lin Xianxi will also be able to improve his blood and delay his life. You must know that Lin Xianxi's lifespan has been greatly damaged, that is, the blood and qi consumption has exceeded the expenditure. Not to mention how much more lifespan he has, it still has some delaying effect. Thank you for your hospitality, Shiming will not bother you anymore. After Lin Shiming finished his tea, he also said goodbye. After saying goodbye, Xian also stood up to see him off, and finally seemed to think of something. Shiming, hurry up to improve your strength. 5 years later, the sect should open the Zuanpan secret realm. This is your Lin family's chance to return to Zifu. Lin Shiming was also very happy when he heard this. Xian was talking about the Zuanpan secret realm, which contains the 3 main medicines of Zifu Jade Liquid, and as long as the merits are too great, the sect can grant Zifu Jade Liquid. And this is also the biggest reason why Lin Shiming wants to learn the Kaozi sword art. He can't avoid entering the secret realm anyway. The reason why Zixuan Sanren is so sure is that the Lin family needs to enter the secret realm to restore the Zifu family. Thank you for the reminder, senior brother. Lin Shiming thanked him again, and flew back to his residence. After telling Lin Xianxi about this incident, Lin Shiming also went into seclusion again. This seclusion was to refine the 2 spiritual swords, especially the Zile sword, which was extremely compatible with his Zimu Heart Sutra. If used at a critical moment, it would not be worse than his Zimu Zuanshan sword formation. The second is to master the seeds of the poisonous dragon vine. And because of Lin Shiming's return, the Lin family began to frequently participate in various auctions. Try to buy as many fine spiritual talismans and special instruments as possible for Lin Shiming. In addition, the cultivators of the Lin family, after experiencing the battle in Xi'an City, also have signs of breakthroughs and need to buy spiritual pills, especially Lei Zhuan, who originally has the Thunder Spirit root. He has broken through to the 9th level of key training and started to polish his spiritual energy. I am afraid that by then he will build a foundation earlier than Lin Shi. Of course, the most important thing is to bid for the foundation building pill at the auction. Now Lin Haoyi has the foundation building pill and has been in seclusion. At the same time, if Lin Haoxiao has the bloodline pill, he can also break through the foundation building pill. In addition to Lei Zhuan and Lin Shi's foundation building pills, the Lin family is short of 4 foundation building pills. Fortunately, the Lin family is not short of spiritual stones now. And Lin Shiming also fell into seclusion again. Time passed in the blink of an eye. 2 months later, Lin Shiming opened his eyes. During this retreat, Lin Shiming not only refined the purple sword and the Leian sword, but also consumed all the dragon lizard meat, dragon lizard blood, and dragon blood grass. Of course, the effect was surprisingly good. His body refining skills have now successfully broken through the foundation. Now, not only is his key training good, but he is also good at close combat. In his joy, Lin Shiming also moved his mind and entered the cave world. The index finger and middle finger pinched out the sword formula, and the purple sword flew out instantly, turning into a 30-foot giant sword in the blink of an eye. Like the moment when the morning sun rises, purple air comes from the east, and the sword light shines everywhere, dazzling to the extreme. Not bad. Lin Shiming didn't cut it off after all. His cave world was still too small, but from the sword light, it was enough to see that the blessing of the purple sword on him was far beyond his expectations. When the cloud sword is released, the spirit sword is somewhat inferior, but it is also a top-grade magic sword, and it is also good for sneak attacks at critical moments. After testing the 2 swords, Lin Shiming took out the poisonous dragon vine seeds again. What made Lin Shiming frown was that the infusion of the poisonous dragon vine seeds was surprisingly long. According to the same purple gold vine seeds, this one took 3 times as long to infuse spirits as the latter, which is a taboo in fighting. And this is still under the amplification of his purple wood heart sutra and hidden spirit body, otherwise it would take a longer time for ordinary cultivators to infuse spirits. Start. As Lin Shiming pinched the spirit seal again, the poisonous dragon vine seeds also suddenly activated. The speed of infusion catalysis was different from that of the lower grade 3rd level green snake vine. In almost a blink of an eye, it seemed as if several dragons really rushed out. In addition, the poisonous dragon vine exuded a poisonous mist all over the sky, and many ordinary spiritual herbs in the cave world withered instantly. Seeing this, Lin Shiming also released the golden mantis to test it. The latter's golden escape light was still entangled by the poisonous dragon vine at this moment, and finally cut it off with a golden foot. However, what surprised him was that even the cut poisonous dragon vine was still under control, rolling in the sky like a dragon, and continued to tie up the golden mantis. The golden mantis was tied up again without paying attention. This time, the mantis's arms were tied up directly, and the latter could not use any strength. It was tied up tightly and could only squeak non-stop, extremely anxious, as if it was also wondering why the broken poisonous dragon vine could continue to tie people up. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 197 Entrustment. Lin Shiming, as a spellcaster, was smiling at the moment. Although it takes a long time to inject spirit into the poisonous dragon vine seeds, the catalysis time is not long, and the cut dragon vine continues to entangle, which will definitely be beyond the enemy's expectation. Even the golden-winged mantis, a monster known for its speed, can't react. As for the mystery, Lin Shiming finally discovered that as long as the vines of the vines do not leave the poisonous fog, they can be infinitely controlled, which is why the injection of spirit takes so long. When facing the poisonous fog, the cultivators usually open the spirit shield to block the poisonous fog. Who would have thought that the poisonous vine could continue to attack after being cut off? The test of the poisonous dragon vine made him very satisfied. The only flaw was that there were only more than 10 seeds of the poisonous dragon vine, and the time to cultivate, even if his purple wood heart sutra was cultivated all the time, it would take 5 years. If it were replaced by an ordinary cultivator, the catalysis time would take more than 10 years. Of course, the key is when the war ends and when he can start cultivating the seeds. Lin Shiming put away the vines and fed the golden-winged mantis some second-grade top-grade animal cultivation pills and spirit beast flesh and blood. He bought these top-grade animal cultivation pills from the spirit beast sex shop. The previous animal cultivation pills had been used up long ago. The second-grade top-grade animal cultivation pills were several times more effective than ordinary animal cultivation pills. The golden-winged mantis ate a few of them and now has become larger, like a sturdy yellow cattle. What made him feel experienced was that the wings of the golden-winged mantis began to bulge again. It seemed as if it was about to grow a fourth pair of wings. The spiritual power of the whole body also faintly entered the peak of the early 3rd stage, and it was possible to break through the middle 3rd stage at any time. This also made Lin Shiming have more expectations for the golden-winged mantis. After the golden-winged mantis was soothed, Lin Shiming also released a red-haired demon monkey to soothe it. At this moment, the red-haired demon monkey was almost healed. His arms could barely hold the red flame fire stick, and he danced with great vigor. With each move, he could even induce strange fire, making the red flame fire stick even more powerful. On the contrary, Zuanling Mountain was somewhat disliked by the red-haired demon monkey. However, in the short term, Lin Shiming would not let the red-haired demon monkey continue to fight. After feeding the red-haired demon monkey, he also put it into the spirit beast bag. The spiritual energy level of the cave world is only the 2nd level lower level. Even the key training monks would probably dislike it. Naturally, Lin Shiming could not leave the two in the cave world. Lin Shiming walked out of the cave world, but the next moment, he saw a burst of spiritual light flying over. He caught it in his hand, but it was a voice transmission. Looking closely, it was the message from his 7th uncle Lin Xianzi. Lin Shiming happened to have some free time at this moment, so he went directly to Lin Xianzi's room. In the room, his father Lin Haoyin was also there, and the two were obviously discussing something. Shiming greets the 7th great-grandfather, "Father." Lin Shiming waved his hand respectfully, and Lin Xianxi and Lin Haoyuan also nodded with a smile. For the two of them, now they have almost developed the habit of smiling when they see Lin Shiming. This is not just looking at the younger generation, but also looking at the hope of the Lin family. Shiming, the 9-leaf competition will be held in 3 days, and the family has purchased a few things for you. Lin Xianxi said with a smile, and then handed Lin Shiming a storage bag. Lin Shiming took the storage bag, and the next moment he saw that in the storage bag, there was a top-grade spiritual talisman and a top-grade magic weapon spiritual shield, both of which were full of spiritual power and extremely extraordinary. This shocked Lin Shiming in his heart. The top-grade spiritual talisman was okay, 300,000 or 400,000 low-grade spiritual stones were enough, but the top-grade magic weapon spiritual shield, as a fine product of the 3rd-level magic weapon, would cost at least 1 million spiritual stones. If it were an auction, the price of spiritual stones would be even higher. Not to mention that it was a time of war, and the price was even higher. Apart from anything else, this spiritual shield might be enough to drain Lin Xianxi, and Lin Xianxi still doesn't have a top-grade magic shield, not even a top-grade magic shield. 7th uncle, father, this is too precious. This is what you deserve as the head of the family. Remember, the family is not just protected by you. Moreover, if you win the opportunity to realize the truth and comprehend the magical power, the chance of becoming a purple mansion will increase greatly, and the family will truly benefit infinitely, and it will be possible for the family to restore the purple mansion family. Lin Xianxi said in a serious voice, but after seeing that Lin Shiming was still worried, he then said, "But don't worry, this time the family has also purchased new magic weapons for your father and 7th uncle, otherwise we are planning to add a top-grade magic sword for you." Seeing this, Lin Shiming also nodded and accepted it. There was no emotion in his eyes, which was naturally impossible. But he understood more clearly that what he had to do was to practice hard, and at the same time strive for the opportunity to realize the truth and comprehend the embryonic form of magical power. It is too far-fetched to comprehend supernatural powers in the middle stage of foundation building, but as long as you comprehend a little bit of the prototype of supernatural powers, breaking through the purple mansion will not only increase the success rate by 2 levels, but after breaking through the purple mansion, you can complete the supernatural powers again and cultivate real minor supernatural powers. And you should know that even the magic elixir of breaking through the purple mansion, such as the purple mansion jade liquid, only increases the probability of breaking through the purple mansion by 30%. Of course, participating in the 9 Leaves Enlightenment does not mean that you will definitely comprehend the prototype of supernatural powers. In previous years, there was not even such a legend. It was only in the last 9 Leaves Enlightenment that 3 people comprehended the prototype of supernatural powers, which pushed the role of this enlightenment platform to the highest level. Shiming, I'll give these things to you for safekeeping. Your current strength may not be much inferior to mine. Lin Xianxi looked at Lin Shiming's firm eyes and became more and more satisfied. Then, after thinking again and again, he took down another storage bag and handed it to Lin Shiming. Lin Shiming was also a little confused at this moment, but he still subconsciously took the storage bag and probed into it with his spiritual sense. What stunned him was that inside the storage bag were 2 purple mansion magic weapons that their Lin family had obtained in the purple mansion cave, the golden brick and the sky-breaking ring, and the soul-seeking disc that their Lin family had removed from the purple mansion cave. You should know that this disc contained a 4th-level low-grade soul vein. 7th uncle, this thing is too valuable, I'm afraid it's difficult for Shiming to keep it. Lin Shiming was a little panicked at this moment. Why, you, the head of the family, don't keep it, and let me, an old man who is about to die, take charge? Lin Xianxi asked back. Lin Shiming's heart trembled immediately, and he was speechless for a while. He couldn't help but look at Lin Xianxi's hair and face, his face full of worry. Obviously, the most worried scene is about to come. Lin Xianxi's lifespan is not much, and he has entrusted it to the family. Don't worry, I can still hold on for 5 or 6 years. Lin Xianxi said nonchalantly, and then waved his hand, asking Lin Shiming to go down and prepare, without giving Lin Shiming a chance. Seeing this, Lin Shiming had no choice but to say goodbye, and Lin Haoyuan also left the room. At this moment, Lin Xianxi sat on a chair, took out the Kinglian sword, and kept stroking the patterns on it. He looked out and vaguely saw a high-spirited young man kneeling under the kind smile of the purple-robed old man. The purple-robed old man took out his favorite Kinglian sword and the jade slip of Rinshu Zhenjinju. Chapter 198 Dao Heart. Lin Shiming and Lin Haoyin were walking in the corridor. At this moment, Lin Shiming suddenly remembered that it seemed that he had not walked with his father for a long time. The busy cultivation and the threat of the heavenly demon sect made him breathless, and the Lin family breathless. Escape, fight to the death, and practice hard. There was almost no relaxation. Of course, not only his father, but also the other Hao and Shi generations were much colder. At this moment, he suddenly realized that the cultivators were also getting old, and the old people were slowly disappearing. Several uncles and aunts of the Hao generation could never return to Fangmu Mountain and the Lin family this time. Without immortality, cultivation will be in vain. At this moment, he thought of Lin Yuking. Counting it, the eldest elder Lin Yuking is already more than 110 years old, and there are not many years left before his 120th birthday. It's just that he is a body-refining cultivator. He looks full of blood and energy, like a middle-aged man. But he understands that when his birthday is approaching, he will age rapidly like the second elder Lin Yuki. Dust to dust, ashes to ashes. Only the Lin family tree and the family jade book left a record. Lin Haoyin kept talking to him about the family, the defects of the family, and the unfulfilled wishes of the family. This time, the two talked a lot. It seemed that at this moment, they were not in Jidwai City, but beside the Yangtze Pavilion in Fangmu Mountain. Shiming, you should consider a Taoist partner. Lin Haoyin suddenly said for no reason. Lin Shiming was also a little stunned at this moment, but at this moment, he thought that their Shi generation was thinking about how to become stronger, while the Xian generation, Yu generation, and Hao generation were thinking about when to sacrifice themselves for the sake of protection and inheritance. The family has been losing cultivators, from 40 people to more than a dozen people now, and it didn't fall on him, Lin Shiming, but on Lin Xianzi, Lin Haoyin, and other family elders. I will consider it. Lin Shiming said vaguely, and he didn't refuse for the first time. Maybe on the road of cultivating immortals, you really need a partner. In Lin Shiming's mind, a beautiful figure flashed by. Shiming, as the head of the family, you should also pay attention to other members of the family. Lin Haoyin spoke again. Lin Shiming has been in Xi'an province for nearly 7 years, and he has been in seclusion or fighting. Lin Shiming nodded, then said goodbye to Lin Haoyin and went to see Lin Yuking first. The two talked about the mountain ape body refining technique. In the excitement of the latter, he demonstrated the power of the foundation building body cultivation, and Lin Yuking laughed very happily. He also listened quietly to Lin Yuking's views and experiences on body refining cultivators. Finally, they talked about Lin Shilei. The elder Lin Yuking smiled and said that Lin Shilei went down the mountain to practice at the age of 15, 2 years earlier than Lin Shiming. He was full of pride and laughed even more happily. Lin Shiming visited the fifth elder Lin Yazhen and listened to him telling the story of the family caravan. He didn't expect that his fifth uncle was also a romantic boy. He also listened to the explanation of the formation from the second uncle Lin Hao Xiao, as if he had returned to the family treasure house and listened to the essence of basic spells. Second uncle was full of energy and spirit at this moment, especially when he learned that the dragon blood pill could help him break through the foundation building. Between his eyebrows, Lin Shiming seemed to see a third-level formation master. Lin Haoyi did not say anything to Lin Shiming. The two took out the wine pot and drank happily. The wine was the monkey wine that Lin Shiming discovered, brewed by the Lin family. Speaking of which, after Lin Shiming had the Minxin tea tree, he had not drunk this monkey wine for nearly 10 years. Now it tastes bitter and sweet. At this moment, he couldn't help but think of the interesting things in Qingtao town again. The teasing of the third sister, and the timid girl Lin Shitao, are probably now the second-level top-grade alchemists of the Lin family. At the second brother Lin Shitai's place, Lin Shiming heard Lin Shitai talking about Lin Shimo. In his words, Lin Shitai was full of pity. If Lin Shimo had stayed, with the current strength of the family, he could have bought him a foundation-building pill. At this moment, the corpse training sect attacked the state of Zhao. If they met on the battlefield, how would they face each other? Lin Shiming met all the members of the Lin family. That night, he sat in front of the courtyard of Leiyu Tower all night. At this moment, his heart of Taoism was more determined than ever before. He cultivated immortality and longevity to protect his family. He must also seize this opportunity of the nine-leaf enlightenment platform. On the second day, Lin Yi entered the cave world and took out the soul-seeking disc containing the 4th level lower grade spirit vein. Before the purple mansion, the Lin family could not place the 4th level spirit vein. Since Lin Yi gave it to him, he simply put the spirit vein into the cave space. This way, not only would it not be discovered, but it would also allow him to successfully cultivate the seeds of the purple gold vine and the poisonous dragon vine. Moreover, in the future, the golden-winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey would not need to stay in the storage bag, and they could quickly practice and become powerful in the cave world. In the world of cultivating immortals, to collect spirit veins, cultivators need to cast special spirit spells and be familiar with the knowledge of the soul seeker. But placing a spiritual vein is much simpler, which is why some spirit-seeking masters specialize in collecting spiritual veins from unknown mountains and selling them to some immortal cultivation families. When the spirit-seeking disc flew out, it floated in the air, and bursts of roaring dragon roars were heard. Then, a yellow spiritual energy like a real dragon surged towards the underground of the cave world. The next moment, he saw the space, and the spiritual energy suddenly increased dramatically, and the spiritual plants he had planted before began to grow wildly almost instantly. These ordinary spiritual herbs have never enjoyed such abundant spiritual energy. A 3rd level top-grade spiritual vein. Lin Yi felt the spiritual energy and was quite happy. When this spiritual vein was collected, it was cut open because the level of the spirit-seeking disc was not enough. Now that it can reach the 3rd level top grade, he is very satisfied. Even if he finally breaks through the purple mansion and takes out this spiritual vein and puts it on Fangmu Mountain, there is a great possibility that the spiritual vein will transform into a 4th level spiritual vein. As soon as the spiritual vein appeared, Lin Yi also took out the purple gold vine seeds, green snake vine seeds, and poisonous dragon vine seeds one by one, planted them, and then supplemented them with the purple wood essence of the Purple Wood Heart Sutra. When all this was done, another day passed. Lin Yi released the golden-winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey. As soon as the 2 spirit beasts came out, they ran around in the space, especially the red-haired demon monkey, whose eyes were full of curiosity and excitement. With the spiritual vein of this cave world, they no longer needed to enter the narrow space of the spirit beast bag. Afterwards, Lin Yi took out the soul-devouring ant and placed it in a corner. With a blood contract, he was not afraid that the soul-devouring ant would chew up his cave world. Lin Yi finally took out the storage bag and looked at the spirit shield that Lin Yi bought for him. The name of the spirit shield is the Star Wood Shield. The main material of the whole body is made of meteorite wood, which is extremely hard. Ordinary top-grade magic swords cannot break the shield at all. After stroking it for a few times, Lin Yi was also very happy and began to refine the Star Wood Shield. Tomorrow was the 9-leaf conference. He also had to refine the Star Wood Shield. Thanks to Nicole for the reward. Chapter 199. The competition begins. On the Jedi Mountain, the trunk of the white fir tree is extremely thick, like a pillar that reaches the sky, straight up to the clouds. The white fir's spiritual leaves are also very outstanding, one cluster after another, emitting emerald green spiritual light. What is amazing is that there are 1 or 2 huge spiritual leaves every 100 meters, like a spiritual platform for cultivation. The 9 spiritual leaves have created 9 enlightenment platforms that are built every 10 years. The monks who went up the mountain all stopped to look into the distance, amazed at the vastness of the white fir tree and the mystery of the enlightenment spiritual platform, and they are looking forward to today's 9 leaves competition. Lin Yi is also among them, along with Xian and Lin Xianzi. The 9 leaves competition is held on the hillside of Jedi Mountain, but this place belongs to the territory of the Spirit Beast sect. Unless you are a Purple Mansion monk, you can only climb the mountain on foot. There were surprisingly many monks coming and going. In addition to the prosperity of Jedi City, it was also related to the large number of monks from Cheyenne Hezhao who retreated to Jedi City. The monks of Cheyenne Mo sect and Lianxi sect could attack the city at any time. Naturally, the monks who practiced in seclusion became increasingly scarce, but the number of people who came to watch the Jedi competition increased. The 3 of them rushed to a huge square at a leisurely pace. There were many beast fighting platforms built in the square. These were used by the Spirit Beast sect for beast fighting. Today, they were all empty. The viewing platform was also full of monks. In addition to the viewing platform, there were towering pavilions for viewing leaves. The viewing platform was a place for all disciples of the Spirit Beast sect and the foundation-building monks of other sects to watch, while the viewing pavilion was prepared for the Purple Mansion monks. Lin Yi also took the number plate that Xian had applied for him in advance and registered with a deacon of the Spirit Beast sect. This time, there are 32 foundation-building monks participating in the 9 Leaves competition. The number is not large, but you should know that the requirement of the 9 Leaves competition is to be a foundation-building monk before the age of 60, and to stand out, you must be a foundation-building monk before the age of 60. After breaking through the foundation, it is not like practicing key, where you can break through every few years. If you are not talented enough, you often cannot break through the foundation-building middle stage for 30 to 40 years. Just like Lin Yiming's father, Lin Haoyan, who has broken through the foundation for nearly 20 years, but has not even achieved the condensation of true essence. Therefore, even if it is a sect monk, if it is not talented, it is not common to break through the foundation-building middle stage before the age of 60. Among them, there are even fewer monks who have confidence in themselves and are willing to fight. There are only 32 people, and it is because of the wars this year, and the frequent appearance of the Purple Mansion prototypes on the Enlightenment platform last time, that there are 32 people. Of course, the 32 people participating this year are all very strong. Among them, there is only one monk from the foundation-building family, Lin Yi, and there are only 5 monks from the Purple Mansion family. The remaining 26 people are all sect monks. Lin Yi stood on the viewing platform, observing the other cultivators. Among them, only 3 were highly respected: Chen Yuan from the Spiritual Beast sect, Su Hao from the Spiritual Talisman sect, and Yi Changgian from the Yi family. Among the 3, Chen Yuan put the most pressure on Lin Yi. He also relied on the golden-winged mantis and the red-haired demon monkey, and the latter probably had more spiritual beasts than him and was also stronger. The second was Yi Changgian. The cultivators of the Yi family were also very famous in the Qingxuan sect, and this one was the best among them. Well, welcome everyone to the 9-leaf mountain of the Spiritual Beast sect. I am Sanai, and my master is Masturbation. On the high platform, a cultivator wearing a 3-leaf Taoist robe walked out. Sanai Sanran's words also made all the cultivators in the square look in the direction of his voice. This 9-leaf conference is still managed by me. Anyone who has built a foundation and is no older than 60 years old can participate. In the end, 2 people will be selected to obtain enlightenment. Our sect does not charge any fees, but those who successfully obtain enlightenment need to do something within their ability for the Spirit Beast sect and participate in resisting the Demon sect for at least 3 years in 9-leaf city. Sanai Sanran continued to introduce. Since Xian had told Lin Yi in advance, he was not unfamiliar with these things. As for participating in the resistance against the Demon sect, he had to resist here because of the relationship with the Qingxuan sect. Okay, let's not talk too much nonsense, just draw lots and start. Sanai Sanran took the labels representing their respective names from the deacon, and then waved his hand. I saw those labels combined in pairs in the sky, and then they went to each vacant beast arena. These beast arenas are where the disciples of the Spirit Beast sect usually fight and control beasts, and each one has a reinforced formation. There are also 32 names on the 16 beast arenas. Lin Yi was on the 5th beast fighting stage, and his opponent was a peak cultivator of the middle stage of foundation building from the Lingfu sect. After Lin Yi came on stage, a deacon from the Lingxiao sect also came out to act as a referee. With his wave of his hand, the 2 began to fight. The young cultivator opposite took out 3 talismans and pressed them down suddenly. The first one was a 3rd-level top-grade talisman Earth Shield Talisman, the second one was a 3rd-level top-grade Wood Binding Technique, and the third one was a 3rd-level top-grade Gold Sword Technique. As soon as the young cultivator released them, he was extremely proud. Once these 3 talismans came out, even a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building could fight. Not to mention facing a cultivator from a small family. And Lin Yi hadn't even made a move yet. The sky full of wooden vines began to entangle Lin Yi, followed by a golden sword with a bright light. The young cultivator was proud and took out a top-grade flying sword and slashed at Lin Yi. However, at this time, Lin Yi finally took action. First, the purple wood Zuanshan sword formation, the 9 formation swords turned into a sword curtain, cut all the vines completely, formed a sword formation, and instantly blocked the golden sword talisman. The young monk was instantly horrified, But he soon sneered. The cultivation of the middle stage of foundation building, controlling 9 magic swords, that is almost the limit, then there is no chance to defend. With a sneer, the young monk raised his hand slightly, and the luxurious talismans unique to the Lingfu sect emerged one by one, a full 10, and all of them were 3rd level top grade talismans. Fire snake technique, golden sword technique, wood binding technique, ice arrow technique, attack Lin Shiming from 4 directions, and countless ground spikes surged up from the ground. Instantly, the spiritual light shone brightly, and all kinds of spells filled the entire beast arena, drowning Lin Shiming. A group of spectators and monks also sighed repeatedly, especially those monks from the foundation building family, who said it was a pity. Lin Shiming's formation sword is indeed elegant, but it also has many shortcomings. With his cultivation in the middle stage of foundation building, how can he control it? Moreover, sword cultivation requires thunder attacks. Not to mention that the Lingfu sect monks took the lead, but they didn't release the spiritual shield. However, to everyone's surprise, a huge shield suddenly appeared in front of Lin Shiming, and the surging starlight blocked all the spells. The sword formation cut off almost all the vines and came towards the Lingfu sect monks. Impossible. The Lingfu sect monk shouted in surprise, his eyes full of disbelief. Lin Shiming not only controlled the formation sword, but also had the strength to control the top-grade spiritual shield. In his opinion, this was simply a fantasy. This requires at least a consciousness of the late stage of foundation building, and Lin Shiming's cultivation is only in the middle stage of foundation building. Chapter 200 Battle against Su Hao. Although the monk of the Spirit Talisman sect was shocked, he quickly took out 3 spirit talismans and directly formed a small shield talisman array, with layers of defense, and then took out a golden tower. However, Lin Shiming's array sword had already cut open, and the 9 swords became one, with a dazzling sword light, and in an instant, the spirit shield was completely shattered. Finally, it was in front of the monk of the Spirit Talisman sect. Thank you. Lin Shiming retracted the flying sword, and at the same time, several black dots attached to the array sword and flew back. Fellow Taoist Lin is really amazing. The monk of the Spirit Talisman sect was also convinced at this moment. Lin Shiming can control the top-grade spirit shield and has such a powerful array sword. It is possible that he will be in the top 10 of this competition. Platform number 5, Lin Shiming wins. The referee announced the winner. From the time when Lin Shiming was besieged by spirit talismans and everyone judged that Lin Shiming was dead, to now when Lin Shiming won, it was only a short 3 breaths. At this time, the monks had not even reacted. They could only be in disbelief, and finally took Lin Shiming seriously. He is Lin Shiming from the Lin family. He once killed 20 demon cultivators of the same level in Cheyenne City. Suddenly someone in the audience spoke up, and everyone immediately recalled. Isn't he in the early stage of foundation building? How come he is in the middle stage of foundation building now? No wonder he can control so many top-grade magic swords and top-grade spiritual shields. This strength is definitely in the top 10. More than the top 10, everyone, this fellow Lin is a wood cultivator. The vine technique he practices is extremely magical. If you observe carefully, when the formation sword was retracted, a large number of seeds were also retracted. Someone else spoke up in shock, and the cultivators of the Spirit Talisman sect heard this. They only felt fortunate that Lin Shiming did not hurt him. You know, the cultivators have to be prepared to fight against the cultivators of the Heavenly Demon sect at any time. Lin Shiming heard the cheers and didn't care at all. He just felt that the talisman of the wood binding technique was a bit mysterious, otherwise he would have defeated the cultivators of the Spirit Talisman sect in the first place. Now, not only is his true essence, consciousness and physical body strong, but even his magic tools are top-grade magic tools. He is not at all inferior to cultivators in the late stage of foundation building. With a sweep of his consciousness, he found that Chen Yuan, Su Hao and Yi Changgen had already finished fighting, and Su Hao even injured his opponent. His top-grade spiritual talismans were extremely powerful, and the cultivators on the opposite side could not stop him for a round. This forced Lin Shiming to put away his contempt for Su Hao from the Spiritual Talisman sect. The second round also came soon. Lin Shiming's opponent was a cultivator from the Purple Mansion family. His cultivation was in the late stage of foundation building, but he had just broken through, and it was obvious that his cultivation was not yet stable. Under Lin Shiming's array sword, star wood shield, and the restraint of the green snake vine, He was quickly defeated. He broke into the top 8. The people on the viewing platform exclaimed again. You know, Lin Yi is not only a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building, but also comes from a foundation building family. After waiting for most of the day, the top 8 were finally decided, and the drawing of lots began again. 8 names flew out of Sanai Sanran's hands and finally landed on 4 beast platforms. As the number fell, Lin Yi looked over, but suddenly met Su Hao's eyes. Platform number 3 was where Lin Yi faced Su Hao. He faced the 3 most popular cultivators in this match. There was an uproar, especially for those cultivators who were optimistic about Lin Yi. Even Lin Xianxi and Lin Haoyuan began to frown. Su Hao's strength had been seen by everyone in the first 2 games. Su Hao not only had a lot of 3rd-level top-grade spiritual talismans, but his own strength was not weak at all. He also had 2 top-grade magical instruments, a purple sword, and a spiritual bell. With a combination of the 2, there were simply not many cultivators who could last 3 moves in his hands. Lin Yi was naturally not particularly afraid of these. He had the God Grinding Plate, 81 top-grade formation swords, the purple sword, the star eye shield, and the cloud sword that could not be used, which was already 4 top-grade magical instruments. But he also knew that Su Hao in front of him almost crushed his opponent and did not use his full strength at all. It was unknown how many top-grade spiritual talismans he had and how many hidden means he had. Especially if there are many top-grade talismans, even Lin Yi can only avoid them. As the quarterfinals are about to begin, a group of Purple Mansion cultivators from Jilai Mountain appear one after another and fall into the viewing pavilion, including Zixu and Sanran. The latter also nodded to Lin Yi. After Lin Yi bowed respectfully, he also went on stage. You are a cultivator in the middle stage of foundation building, so let you make the first move. Su Hao stood with his hands behind his back, quite arrogant. Lin Yi's spiritual sense is not inferior to Su Hao at all. Seeing that the other party stood with his hands behind his back and made some small moves, how could he be humble? He had already prepared for Su Hao, and raised his hand to form 18 array swords, which turned into 2 small sword arrays and went towards Su Hao. The 2 small sword arrays, with a flashing spiritual light, had a sword light of 3 feet long and arrived in an instant. Su Hao pressed his hands behind his back, and 3 talismans unfolded instantly. First, a huge golden shield blocked the 2 sword formations, emitting dazzling light and a sharp hissing sound. This was obviously a top-grade gold-attributed defensive talisman, the Golden Shield Talisman, which was also the most restraining flying sword. Su Hao's mouth curled up slightly, and changes appeared behind him again. The surrounding spiritual energy suddenly began to condense into spiritual patterns one after another, and in an instant, a yellow sand formation was formed, covering Lin Yi. The yellow sand fell all over the sky, making Lin Yi feel like he was in the desert. The 3 absolutes yellow sand formation, this is aimed at Lin Yi's identity as a wood cultivator. Others also began to exclaim. They didn't expect that Su Hao would come up with such a trump card. The 3 absolutes yellow sand formation would increase the firmness of the surrounding land, and the wood vine technique would be greatly weakened. And it also suppressed Lin Yi's formation sword. The yellow sand all over the sky formed one yellow sand giant after another, waving sand fists and smashing towards Lin Yi. Su Hao's figure also disappeared in the yellow sand, accompanied by one after another of the top-grade spiritual talismans, which smashed towards Lin Yi's head as if they were free. Lin Yi frowned slightly. Under his perception, the catalysis of the purple gold vine was greatly reduced. Although it was still catalyzed, the purple vines at this moment were obviously much smaller than before, and the speed was not much slower. One after another, the purple gold vines emerged, barely binding the yellow sand giant, which was also slow, but the yellow sand giant broke free with a little effort. The slightly weaker green snake vine was catalyzed like a green snake. Lin Yi had no choice but to take out the grinding god plate. As the grinding god fell, one after another yellow sand giant was crushed. The top-grade spiritual shield and the star wood shield, together with the 2 sets of array swords, blocked all the spells one after another. No, he wants to use a talisman. At this time, people outside the array found that Su Hao took out a talisman engraved with the seal of opening the mountain and activated it. Although this talisman is not a 5th-level magic weapon, it is definitely a top-grade one among the 4th-level magic weapons. When it was activated, an extremely huge golden seal suddenly became more and more solid in the void. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.